wrestling fans, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk Podcast. For the next 2 hours, we will bring you the latest pro wrestling news, in-depth analysis of all your favorite promotions from across the globe, and much, much more. We will also bring you exclusive interviews with the greatest professional wrestling personalities on the local, national, and international levels. If you want to follow the Wrestle Talk Podcast, check us out online at www.wrestletalkpodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And now, it's time for the reigning, defending, undisputed leader in pro wrestling podcast, the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's episode, a special episode of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. I, of course, am Luke Roberts here. And again, thank you, AJ, for bringing up the comment right off the bat. Wrestle Talk Monday, that simply put, is awesome. And tonight, right here, we got a very special guest. He's going to be joining us here in a little more than an hour. We're talking about the unified Micro Wrestling Federation heavyweight champion, the one, the only Lil Show, the Redneck Brawler, is going to be joining us a little bit after 8:15 here this evening on the Wrestle Talk Podcast. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, it is my esteemed honor and privilege to bring forward a man who you all know and love. He is one of the sounding voices of the Wrestle Talk Podcast each and every week. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get his introduction properly done right here on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, and let's make sure we give the proper introduction.
¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? ¿Qué pasa? Loyal members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. What a pleasure it is to be in the building with you guys, my man Luke Skywalker Roberts, and like he said, in the second hour, a very, very special guest in Lil Show from the Little Big Brawlers, from Micro Wrestling, and soon to be the newest member of the Wrestle Talk family, man. That is going to be an outstanding interview. And if our interview previously with Psycho and his partner was an indication of what these folks, what these talent bring to the table, Rob, tonight's interview is going to be incredible. I'm absolutely sure of it, and I'm happy to be along on this ride with you tonight, man, for sure.
Well, I got to tell you right now, Night Owl, as we're looking at things here, I want to go ahead and bring something up here. You talk about Psycho and Pinky Shortcake, two members of Big Little Brawlers that are here on the program. I want to show you something right here, something we're going to talk about later on this evening here on the show, and hopefully my technology will cooperate here for us. We can show it the right way, and it's right here in the middle, but you know what? That's okay. Micro Pay-Per-View 2, Madness at the Microtorium. Lil Show defending his championship early in late 2023, taking on Psycho. And I made sure to bring that up here because we're going to be talking to him about all of his great matches. I mean, a long-time professional wrestler and now taking the journey into the world of television. It's going to be a great program here tonight. A lot of things. We're on the road to WrestleMania. Here's the scary thing, Night Owl. We are less than a month from WrestleMania. We are less than a month from Universe Mania 10.
Oh, my gosh. My nerves are going nuts just hearing you say that. Under a month. I can't believe it.
Well, you know something, Night Owl. I mean, again, that's one of those things. This time of year is great in the world of professional wrestling. We got a lot of things to talk about. We've got things to talk about in AEW. We've got things to talk about with MLW. We've got things to talk about with TNA. We've got things with the WWE. We've got New Japan. We even got All Japan talk here tonight as a part of the Wrestle Talk Podcast. A lot of great things that are going to be taken care of here on the program. But before we do, as we do each and every week, we're going to go ahead and take just a second here. And we want to go ahead and encourage all of our great viewers to make it a point to make sure you share the hashtags, hashtag WTP, hashtag Let's Talk Wrestling, to make sure you can be in contact with all of us and make sure you're in contact with all of the great and wonderful members of the Wrestle Talk Podcast family. It's going to be a great show tonight. And also, you know what, Night Owl? We would be remiss.
I can take it.
You
throw
want
it
to
at
take
me,
it?
baby. I'm ready.
All
Let's
right,
go.
we're going to throw it up here. We got to talk about all those great sponsors who bring this program forward each and every week.
That's right, all my wonderful friends. Again, thank you guys for tuning into the show for episode 473. We would not be here without our fantastic sponsors, including, of course, Royal Mills Transportation, Nobleman's Barber Lounge in Kansas City, Missouri, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, Interstate 70 Sports Media, Little Popeye Designs, and, of course, the world's premier fantasy wrestling promotion, the FWWC. That's right. In the words of my guy, Hardcore Hoss. I like saying it like that, bro. Just that accent, bro, is my favorite.
Well, you know something, Night Out. Tonight's going to be a great night. I mean, again, we're talking about things. And as we said, it's a very special Monday episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We got a lot of great things that we're going to be talking about. And you know something, Night Out? I got to tell you, we kind of alluded to it last week. There are a lot of big things on the horizon when it comes to the Wrestle Talk podcast. There are several things right now. I wish I could share one of them because I think it would be one of those that would be a monumental statement for the WTP. But you know, we got to keep it on the level. We got to keep it under wraps just a little bit longer before we can go ahead and take care of things here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. But you know something? As we talk about things right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, before we get too much farther along, and I got to level with you. It's been a very busy week here in the St. Louis area. It's been a busy week all across the country. We're only Monday. It's going to be a great week. But before we do, as we do each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, what we need to do is this. We need to go ahead. As you know, we need to take our hats off of our heads. We need to place them over our hearts as we talk about each and every week. And Night Owl, you're going to have to help me here. You got the flag set up. I'm going to go ahead and set it up, and you make sure that it gets ready to rock and roll. We're going to go ahead as we do each and every week here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, and that is we are going to pay homage to the greatest country on the entire planet. And Night Owl, can you take care of it?
I'm ready, baby. Let's get and cue up Roseanne, y'all, for tonight's edition of the Wrestle Talk podcast National Anthem. Dear goodness, why do we do this to our fans?
Well, you know, Night Owl, as you're going to need a minute here, you know something? I was thinking about it. This is a special episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. I mean, we're on the road to 500. We're on the road to WrestleMania 40. We're on the road to Universe Mania 10. And I want to do something unprecedented here on the Wrestle Talk podcast this evening.
Let's do it.
We always talk about how we have our true introduction, our one of our claims to fame is the national anthem sang by Roseanne. But you know something, Night Owl? I think tonight is special. It's a Monday night episode of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I think what we're going to do...
Before you finish your teaser, I don't want to take a steam away from you. I just want to let everybody know, because we promised we're about 15 minutes into Raw. So far, we've heard from Seth and we've heard from Drew, and they're, I guess, kind of making their WrestleMania match official. So for those of you that we told you we're going to keep up with you, I mean, we're going to keep up watching the show and still do Wrestle Talk with you. I just want to make sure everybody, about every 15, 20 minutes or so, we'll try to give you guys an update so you don't miss the action there either. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Like I said, right now, as Susie Haas talks about it, y'all need to record the anthem. You know something?
I know it's not copyrighted. We might take it.
Right now, I want to do something a little bit special here tonight. And again, we have a lot of members of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And you know something, Night Owl? I think with tonight, I mean, in just a little over an hour, we're going to have the Micro Wrestling Unified Champion on the program. I think tonight we need to go ahead and set this up the right way. So if you would be so kind, for those that are here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, as you see, I never put my hat back on my head.
What are we doing?
Because what we're going to do is, in a true traditional manner in the world of professional wrestling, we're going to go ahead, once again, ask you, please remove your caps, place your hand over your hearts, and we are going to play a version of the national anthem from a longtime member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. So, ladies and gentlemen, in true Wrestle Talk fashion, ladies and gentlemen, please place your hands over your heart as we play, once again, the national anthem.
Singing of our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
This is the real deal.
the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home? Singing of our national anthem.
Of the Chiefs.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I had to do it.
once
Sorry.
again, for those that don't know, that was actually our longtime friend of the Wrestle Talk podcast and a member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, Tom Simon's rendition of our national anthem. And again, we got a lot of people here. Susie liking that one. Our good friend Tyler Cooley saying without question that's on fire. Lots of fires here if we talk about things. And again, we got a great opportunity here tonight.
Fire. Yeah.
Are we going to have to calm you down, Night Owl?
No, bro. I thought this is the energy people paid for. This is what people came to see. Come on, man. How you want me having these people nodding off? I got my man Tyler Cooley in the house. Missouri's in the house. St. Louis is here. Virginia and West Virginia are in the house. I mean, bro, we got love from California popping right now. We got all kinds of people in the house. That's what they came for. He said it's a hot one. Yo, my man Tyler, he knows what's going on. Hey, Tyler, you tell him. Because I'm going to call the fire department. Did somebody call me Beavis? Put that comment back up. Who did that? Who said that?
Hold on, we got to bring that back up here. Like I said, we're going to go back here into the comments here.
I am the great Cornholio. All right, man. Well, I guess what? Oh, look, Jimmy's here. What up, Jimmy? Jimmy Harris in the house.
All right, Jimmy Harris, member of the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. If you get an opportunity, stop on by on Facebook. They got a lot of great information. They've got the class of 2024 online. We're waiting for an official date for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. A lot of great names.
One of these days, man. I got to get my butt out there, man. Got to make it happen, Captain.
And to give you an idea too, I know for a fact that we've already talked with the St. Louis Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, and we're hoping again this year to have several of their inductees on the program here this evening. But you know, Night Owl, you were talking about Cali. You were talking about
Jim Harris. Sorry, Rob. Just real quick, just a big shout out to all of our service members. I saw one more time. We'll throw that back up on Jim there. Looks like he's got a blue line through a badge. So just a big shout out to all of our service members, firemen. The paramedics, obviously, police officers, anybody that's a teacher, any near and dear to some people's heart. And anybody, hospital, doctors, nurses, just big shout out to anybody who gives of themselves for others, in many cases for not a whole lot of dough. So love to all of our service members out there, active and retired military as well. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
Oh, most definitely, Night Owl. We're talking about Cali, we're talking about Florida, we're talking about West Virginia, we're talking about the Midwest. You know what I think it's time for? I think it's time
for DJ Money, baby. That's what I'm feeling.
Exactly. Right, we got to make sure that Georgia gets to represent, and we got to get to those high spots. So right now, let's go ahead and turn it over to DJ Money.
Mic check.
I love this song, bro.
All right. Wrestle Talk Podcast. DJ Money. Yeah. Let's go. Welcome to High Spots, where we pop news like clear chops. We talk shop, coming through the screens of a laptop. And non-stop like a runner speeches of blacktop. We hit hard like chair shots and backdrops. Like a spark flash, look like a belly flop. Now that's hard. We up to speed while they stay slow. Wrestle Talk Podcast, now they know. We about to start the show.
Let's go, baby. I'm ready. Let's go, Rob. Let's get business done.
All right. You know what? We got to take care of some business here. And you know what? I'm going to level with you. I'm a man who's a man of his word, and I'm going to be straight up front. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was when we had the Wrestle Talk podcast, we had so much information. We didn't want to take extra time with the randomizer. But you know what, Night Owl? Tonight is special. And just for you, just for the viewers of the Wrestle Talk podcast, let's go ahead and hit that randomizer.
Let's go. Let's see what that overlay is going to be, baby. Drop it on me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our first question here of this evening, as we look at it right here, with NFL free agency off and running, who would you like, what pro wrestling look like with a one-day free agency? Could it work? And you know what, Night Owl? I want to throw this one up here real quick before we get your statement. You're talking about a pro football style free agency. You'd be remiss if you didn't talk about the one and only Pat McAfee, a man who on multiple facets is taking the WWE by storm. And I got to tell you, Night Owl, you are a big football fan. I'm not even going to remotely joke with you on that. You're a big Chiefs fan. I mean, after all, they did win a little thing called the Super Bowl. But my question to you is this: would you think that pro wrestling could use a free agency? How do you think it would work?
Well, I like to believe, because I hadn't really gone into depth on any of these questions. I actually like to genuinely be surprised. I know some folks like to do their homework. You know, the Night Owl's more of the wing it type. And and it's got us through 39 years. So I'd like to believe it's somewhat effective. But truthfully speaking, I like to think that there already is a certain level of free agency within the world of professional wrestling. It just so happens that the biggest company in the entire pro wrestling world doesn't necessarily enjoy participating in that sort of open capitalistic type market. You see, when you are an independent worker and you're a contractor, typically you can make up your schedule how it goes until you reach a certain level and the money gets a certain, and by the way, we're going to have a special third, very, very special third wheel here during the high spot segment. If you want to keep an eye on that for us, Skywalker, and introduce that individual whenever you're ready. But I guess what I'm trying to get to without being too wordy is I think there's free agency in wrestling until you get to the big leagues. I think, first day, second and third day ball, there's free agency. You can come and go. You look at guys like Will Ospreay that have come and gone from certain promotions and had success in multiple promotions at the same exact time. But once you reach a certain level, I'm going to just say it's a capitalistic thing. It's money. Once you reach to a certain point in your career, it's a financial decision to sign or a long-term contract. Now, once you're out of that contract and that contract expires, then you again fall back into the free agent pool. But let's just be honest. Anybody who is signed by classification is not a free agent. But before you get to the WWE and more recently in AEW, you could very well ply your trade here this weekend and there the next. So I think it's a little unfortunate that guys do sign, 8-10-year contracts with the WWE, because you would think that within a 3-year window, you could really raise your stakes and your value enough to capitalize. But the problem is when you sign 5 to 7 year contracts in some cases, it's very, very difficult to stay hot and relevant long enough and to make sure that you're peaking at the end of that contract to really be the most valuable free agent. And ultimately, WWE just ends up bidding against itself because the person that keeps coming to mind, and I promise not to be too wordy because I know we're going to have a third guest here, a third co-host. But my point is, some guys know how to play the game, and I don't think at this point anybody's played that free agent game better than MJF. I think he's the one that's executed it well enough to be able to kind of pick and choose what he wants to do. I think everyone else, once you reach a certain point, you got to take the jump. You got to, it's like for guys like you and me who side that, you get to a certain point in your career, now you got to go salary. and now, you know what I'm saying? So I will say that it exists, but unfortunately not at the highest level. And only if you have a certain amount of clout, and I'm talking AJ Styles, MJF type of clout, are you a true free agent that has some bargaining chips on your side to be able to come to the table with the E in this instance? Those are my thoughts. What are yours?
Well, Night Owl, I'm going to tell you right now. First of all, I got to say I am proud of you. Okay. I am genuinely proud of you. That was one of those that I got to say you could be on any major sports news media outlet. That was beautiful. Now, for those that have been listening, you could hear my comments. But you know something? I want to look at things from a completely different perspective. And you talked about it. You talk about free agency, and you talk about a man who is known around the Midwest. He's not a free agent when it comes to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, with his, I got to say, his true blue view, the one, the only, Sonny Money Mayo.
Yo. What's up, fellas? What's up, Wrestle Talk? How we doing? Now, I've seen and talked to you enough over the past 4 or 5 days. What's up, my brother? It's always
one thing. What? I'll get out of y'all way if you let me say one thing.
What?
This, cool. But, bro, this is your thing. Yeah, no more stealing other people's shit, bro. You do yours.
Yeah, but
everybody in the world is going to be. That's fine, but everybody in the world is going to be doing this soon. Trust me. This is,
I might have to take your advice on that one, Night Owl. I think I'm going to have to hop on that train. Go ahead. What's up, fam? Yeah, so it looks like I joined in right at a good. I came just to join for the high spots because I have my questions, but I'm gonna throw them in the comment section. I'm excited for our guest tonight. I really, really am. So, but I'm gonna let you two handle that. I'm here just for high spots. And money pops in on high spots when he's not hosting. I'm just gonna pop in on high spots and do the thing. Is that cool, Flywalker? You cool with that, bro?
I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and get it, Sonny Money. You know what's up. Let's get your review because we've heard the Night Owl. He gave a 5-star review. He gave a 5-star answer. I know you can follow that up.
By the way, if we're cool enough for Stephen E to be here, I just want to say this. If we're cool enough for Stephen E to be here, that means we're doing something right. We got Sonny Mayo. We got Stephen E in the house, man. We are doing big things for episode 473. But Sonny Money, it's all yours, baby.
Yeah, man. So listen, are we still sticking with the same topic, the free agency frenzy?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful, man. Yeah, beautiful. So yeah, that was my and I was the one who posed this question. That's a little backstage in knowledge for you folks there in the comment section. I was the one who threw this question to all of our fine co-hosts here at Wrestle Talk Podcast. Listen, today's nuts. For a sports fan like myself, as you can see in the background, I love NFL, NBA, NHL. I love it all. Women's volleyball, but I love pro wrestling. All right. So that's why I threw that question out there. What would that look like if it was like a one-day signing frenzy, just like the NFL was today? Now, Night Owl, you again, as Flywalker said, you had a 5-star review on that. I don't think I could follow that up. But mine was kind of more of the fantasy and dream booking, okay? Because like as a 12-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid, I used to go in the grocery store when my mom was going to go get a Pediasure, and I would go over to the magazine sections, and I would see usually once a year the dream matches, like Billy Gunn against Sean Stasiak, Hogan, Steve Austin, Goldberg, Steve Austin. You know what I mean? So we always wanted that Monday Night War rivalry. Fortunately, we never really got that. But it was sticking in my head today, what would that look like if Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks just showed up on Monday Night Raw? They were like, yo, as free agent. We signed with them for 6 months, not even a year. And what would it look like if, Roman Reigns went over to AEW and came in with the Superman punch on Tony Khan? I think that would be so unique and so dope for pro wrestling. Now, I know it would hurt storylines and long-term storytelling, which is one of the main ingredients of pro wrestling. But from the dream match point of view, from the young Mark point of view, man, who wouldn't love some pro wrestling free agency frenzy signing like the NFL is today? People just tweeting. Imagine what the wrestling world would look like on social media if we had a free agency frenzy. It'd be nuts. It'd be nuts. Now, obviously, realistically, we can't do that. And Flywalker made a good point, though. The only one who can really hold that candle right now and is keeping people really intrigued, and including myself, is MJF. Now, I don't know what MJF's doing. You guys know what MJF's doing, Flywalker and Night Out? Because I don't know what he's doing right now. Now, like, I know he said 2024, but he ain't on TV, so I don't know what's going on with him. So that's the one I'm going to be really looking out for. But yeah, man, mine was kind of from just that young Mark coming up, loving pro wrestling point of view of dream matches. You know what I mean? Give me Young Bucks and the Bloodline mixing it up on SmackDown. Like, that would be crazy.
I'm all for the dream matches for sure. But what's he doing? I think he's recovering from injury. I think that's what MJF is doing. My understanding.
I want to look at it this way, gentlemen. The Night Owl and Sunny Money both bring forth great ideas. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's simple. You know what's there. We're going to see it with Sunny Money. It's going to be at the top. When we have a day, we have Wrestle Madness 5. I'm going to tell you right now, if Sunny Money had his way, at the top of the list would be Sean Stasiak and Billy Gunn.
Yo, don't tell me nothing. Yo, don't tell me nothing, Flywalker. All right? Yo, fall of 1999, the World of Wrestling, Wow Magazine. They were talking Billy Gunn versus Sean Stasiak. I was intrigued, bro. You know what I mean? What do you want out of me? I don't know. I watch all wrestling, all right? So.
Yeah, but same token, Money, you got to look at it from a perspective of, I mean, again, you got Hogan, Flair, and I want to go back here real quick, and I want to throw this out here again. Stephen E. showing a true dream match as Sunny Money brings up Hogan, Flair. I mean, everybody wanted to see that.
Yep.
But I got to tell you right now, Sonny, when it sits down and you take care of what's here, it's real simple and straightforward. If you had Sean Stasiak and Billy Gunn, it'd be great for about 7 to 10 minutes. And then what else are you going to do?
You know what? Listen, you go into the next dream match. There's so many dream matches. Listen, even for the local independent pro wrestling scene here in Kansas City, there's one dream match people have been clamoring for. You know what that is right now?
Here we go with this.
Do you know what it is? Because I know what it is. It's the one and only. And listen, I tried to get Fountain City Pro to do it. I tried to big shout out to Billy Simmons. I tried to get Heartland to do it. Maybe Central States will come through. Maybe KCXW. But we need to see Sunny Money Mayo of the Wrestle Talk podcast against the one and only Broken Ron Jeremy, my boy Arlen. Listen, we're gonna have a parking lot brawl. Nah. All right, that one fell flat. I'm gonna get you. I'm coming.
Oh my gosh, bro! Like, first of all, some people may not know who Broken Ron Jeremy is. So.
It's all good.
Those of us who know, it did not fall flat, Sonny.
All right. I know Flywalker don't know what he's talking about.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate with you, Sonny, here, because I think the spirit of the question. Can we bring the question back up just one more time? The spirit of the question is, okay, what would pro wrestling look like for one day for pro wrestling frenzy? Now, I kind of took a different angle, and I like you would love to see a bunch of those kind of matches, right? Things that we thought we were going to see one day that we never really got to see. But the truth of the matter is that today we do have a semblance of free agency until you reach the highest level. So I guess my question, to go a little bit deeper here with you, is what do we need to do to create that environment amongst the elites in professional wrestling? Because as let's say as a beginner or somebody who's kind of middle of the road, you do have more options, which is why there's been guys like Ospreay that have decided to not make the long-term commitment because they value their freedom. So where do you strike a balance, and how could we create that level of competition up on the highest level? You know, as far as your perspective, or how you might be able to get creative and make that happen from you guys.
You know something, Night Owl? I'm going to put it real simple. And again, I get where you're coming from on the independent level, but I'm going to level with you right now, and I'm going to make it simple. When we're going to see that on a national and international level would be when we hear this. Hold on, wait. Headlining WrestleMania again.
My bad.
Wait, was that Gilbert's music or Goldberg?
Easy.
It's going to be the perfect match. Goldberg versus Gilbert live on a PLE.
Yo, Skywalker's trolling tonight.
Hey, y'all keep saying his name enough. He'll pop back up on Wrestle Talk like he did before, like Beetlejuice, bro. I don't have problems with Gilbert. I need no problems.
Where has this Skywalker been hiding, bro? What the hell?
I don't need no problems.
I love this energy right here, Rob. Keep it going. All right, you guys ready to go on to the next topic? Because I feel like we can keep it moving, baby.
Yeah.
I agree. Let's go ahead and hit that randomizer again, gentlemen. All right, let's go ahead and bring up that next question here. Ooh, something close to Sunny Money. As many members of the press have discussed, who do you think should induct Paul Heyman into the WWE Hall of Fame? You know what, Night Owl? I'd be remiss. Sunny Money, you're the Philadelphia guy. You grew up following ECW. I agree. I would be almost committing a very wrong statement here if we didn't let you go first. Who inducts Paulie?
And yes, ECW bias. The first thing that popped in my head when I seen Paul Heyman was going into the WWE Hall of Fame. And honest to God, I mean this. The first thing that popped in my head was just who's going to induct Paul Heyman. And right off the bat, I said Tommy Dreamer. And everybody kind of thinks that's what it should be. But I don't. I really don't. I think it should be one guy who's been with Paul Heyman in the early days of WCW. He was with them in ECW. In fact, Paul Heyman brought him in when no one else didn't have a word to really say about this gentleman. Paul gave him a chance, which skyrocketed him over to the WWF and made him one of the GOATs on the Mount Rushmore of all time in pro wrestling. Honestly, and you know he's going to give a great speech. I think it should be Stone Cold Steve Austin. I really do. I think Austin would get that point across of what Heyman's career is. And you know Heyman's going to take the mic and explain it all and go down the road at all. But to just usher Heyman in and what it would mean, and a big name like that, and again, they were in the Dangerous Alliance together in the early 90s with WCW. You know, he got Stone Cold started that Stone Cold Steve Austin gimmick in ECW. You know what I mean? And he helped him get him to WWF by putting him on ECW TV. And even their stuff with the Alliance around 2001, 2002, man, give me Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's who I think it should be. Even though I'm Philly biased, I'd love to see Tommy Dreamer. I'd love to see Taz. You know what I mean? But I think Stone Cold Steve Austin's the ticket there. I think that's the right one to do it.
Well, you know something, Night Owl? I'm going to throw one out here that I don't think a lot of people are going to expect. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's so important, I think we need one of these. Who I think should induct Paul Heyman into the WWE Hall of Fame? The Dudley Boys. Ooh. One of the greatest tag teams in the history of professional wrestling. A team that was made from a comedy gimmick all the way to the very tip top of the tag team scene. And I'm going to tell you right now, I had a couple of ha-ha jokes there. But the fact is, if you're talking tag team wrestling, you're talking somebody who put ECW on the map. And I mean, again, I know Tommy Dreamer would be a natural fit. Another one, and again, unfortunately, he's no longer with us, would have been the hardcore icon himself, Terry Funk. But to me, I think if you're going to put two people who basically made that jump to the very tip top of professional wrestling, it's got to be the Dudleys. Night Owl?
No, hold on, Night Owl. Let me add this real quick. And this is something that I would love to see. And it kind of popped in my head because, Night Owl, I really do want to hear your point. I'm sorry, brother. But I think in Philly, and hear me out, guys. Maybe I'm going a little too far with this. But I think in Philly on that WWE, up on that, at the Hall of Fame, I think up on that stage, Heyman should bring out as many members of ECW as he can. It being in Philly, you know what I mean? And give all those guys that recognition who deserve it. Sabu deserves it. Taz deserves it. Shane Douglas, all Tommy Dreamer, out of the Dudleys. I think all them guys deserve that, man. And I don't want to take away from Paul Heyman, but I think we should see a situation where all them ECW guys come out and get the love
more than
too.
just him.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Joel Gertner, bro? Can we get a
yo? Give me the neck brace, yo.
Look at yo. Who starts a pay-per-view coming out and making 10 minutes of dick jokes?
It's my man, you know right there. My man.
Yo, Tyler Cooley wants some Joel Gertner.
You know what, Night Owl? I want to throw this one out here. Besides that,
you're not gonna let me get to mine. I see. It's fine. I'll wait.
There you go, right there.
I'm just playing. Go ahead, bro.
Well, Night Owl, I'm going to throw it to you, man. I mean, we got two very legitimate Hall of Fame inductors of Paul E. Who do you say makes that induction? Because, I mean, again, that's one of those where, oh, wait a minute, I realized something. Because of it, this is a long-standing thing here, so I think I know who it is. I think you're going to go ahead and you're going to call the obvious, and you're going to put the one, the only Roman Reigns to induct him. You know how it is.
You're trying to take my thunder. I see you. Hey, Sky, I'm watching you, bro. I'm from the East Coast. I got to sniff it. You're trying to take my thunder away, but luckily, you're one step behind me, bro, because, no, I do not believe, though, for tangible storyline purposes, it kind of, like, I guess you can make it make sense, but not, bro. A guy like this, a guy that has been a as my counterpart in the FWWCL, Mata likes to say, a needle mover from the moment that he stepped into the world of professional wrestling, from when he had that big block phone and everything that he did after that. I think a guy that should but can't is Vince. Only because, and that's not my answer, I'll be quick, only because Vince is the only one that can speak on Paul as not only a colleague, but also a rival. And he can speak about Paul's business acumen and also his wrestling acumen. And then he can also speak about Paul in terms of his creativeness and, you know, Paul being an associate of his as far as being an employee. But for me, man, there's only one guy, and you're going to go, you guys are going to look at me like I'm wild. But to me, there's one original Paul Heyman guy, and he just happens to be from Chicago, and his first name happens to be Philip. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not even a Punk guy, but if there's going to be one person that can go up there and put Heyman over and have you like in tears and shit, or maybe even sit down on the stage and have one of those moments, those pipe bomb moments, like only CM Punk can do, I think he would take that ball, run with it, and would not disappoint. That's somebody, y'all know how I feel about Phil. But when
he's your favorite wrestler.
Excuse me?
He's your favorite wrestler.
He's my yeah, something like that. But no, it's wild to me because, like I said, as little as I can relate to some of the stuff that Phil does, when I think about my pro wrestling fanhood and I think of Paul Heyman, the first person that pops into my mind is one CM Punk. I think that would be an awesome induction ceremony. Just my opinion. Go ahead.
I got a question for you guys. Just today, they added Brock Lesnar's bio back on the WWE.com. You think Brock Lesnar could possibly be? You think that could be a possibility? I mean, my man's not that strong on the mic, but obviously, them early years of Brock Lesnar probably wouldn't have. He probably wouldn't have been as big. He wouldn't have been the next big thing without the wise man by his side. And you think that could be a possibility?
I don't know. That's a good question. You know something though, Sonny?
Good idea.
I want to look at it this way. We've got a lot of good thoughts here. We really do.
Yeah.
But I would be remiss right now. And again, we're talking about John Haas, and I'm just going to let that go right there, Night Owl. You can kind of explain that in your own terms. But you know what else we've got here? We talked about it here. We totally missed it in that last segment. The one, the only, the good Dr. Dallas Stevens is in the house here tonight, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. It's showing us exactly what's going on here. We are in high demand, and in a little less than a half hour, we're going to have Lil Show, the micro wrestling unified, undisputed champion, going to be here on the program in just a few minutes. And you know what? I want to go back here real quick. And again, thank you, AJ, for the great comment. I agree with Renee. CM Punk and Heyman started out together in ECW in 2006. and they had the Hammerstein. It could be very interesting. I got another one here that a lot of people I think we totally looked over earlier on. How about Todd Gordon?
Todd is God. Todd is God. Oh, sorry. No, that'd be dope.
Another one.
And Todd just, and that kind of goes back to my point of all them ECW originals being up on stage. You know, like Todd Gordon needs to be shoulder to shoulder with Paul Heyman.
What about RVD? We didn't even bring up RVD, bro.
Yo, that's what I'm saying, bro. We could sit here and name the whole list down. You know what I mean? But there's so many people who could do it. I wonder if Heyman's just gonna throw a curveball. You know what I mean? I can see him.
Oh, real quick, because we did promise. So we did have Liv Morgan versus Becky Lynch a little bit earlier. I'm going to try not to give the spoilers for people that are saving it for later, but a hard-fought match, definitely going to want to watch that one. And then the latest we have for you guys is that there was an announcement that the Judgment Day is going to be defending in a 6-way tag team ladder match at WrestleMania XL. So for those of you guys that are trying to keep up with Raw and check us out as well, we love you. And we love you too, Dallas, because Dallas, he appreciated the shout out, looks like, right, fellas? So shout out to the doctor.
True.
I'm wondering, he's not related to another doctor I know, right? Because I know Britt Baker's name is Doctor. Yeah, so maybe there's some sort of relation there. Never mind. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, I got one here for you.
What do you
got?
got?
Talk about flipping the script. What do you think about the idea? And again, this is going to be totally out in right field. What about Paul Heyman inducting himself? When you look at it, he's got the WCW credentials. He's got the time in the WWE. He's got the time in ECW. He's got the time down in OVW. He's covered pretty much the whole gamut of professional wrestling.
Looks like really people really digging my Joel Gertner induction idea. I don't know. Hey, Rob, the idea of inducting yourself, when you talk about throwing a curveball, isn't that the ultimate curveball? Inducting yourself? Imagine being that full of yourself. You're like, hey, there's really nobody better to induct myself than myself. If anyone could pull it off, it's that guy. No question about it. No question.
Oh, well, we still got a lot to talk about here, Night Owl. Let's go ahead. We're going to take care of it right now. Let's get another question up here for all of our great viewers. All right, ladies and gentlemen, our next question here, and as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead. This one deserves, and I'm going to tell you right now, right there, with the slap heard round the world this past Friday, has Cody done enough to justify being the one that if I can talk today, dethrones Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? Night Owl, I'm going to let you talk about this one. I know this is one that is near and dear to your heart.
I'm ready, man. I've been ready to talk about this one for a little bit because you know what? As much as people hate to hear about it, guys, it is inevitable. At some point, Cody is going to get an authentic and true opportunity to finish the story. And with the possibility of the bloodline not being a factor in this matchup. Now, for those of you guys who maybe missed this last Friday, allow me to update you. There was a new stipulation presented that says that WrestleMania Night 1, you will have the bloodline, Roman Reigns, The Rock, versus Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. If Cody and Seth are able to win, then Cody gets a straight-up one-on-one match, bloodline free at Universe Mania XL Night 2. But if Cody and Seth lose, that matchup between Roman and Cody will be bloodline rules, which means anything goes, and they didn't really provide all that much more context beyond that. So the question is what? At the end of Friday, one of the boldest moves that we've seen in professional wrestling history, if you ask me, is Cody returning the favor to the great one, to the Hall of Future. If he's not a Hall of Famer already, what the hell's wrong with us? He should have been inducted from the moment that he stopped wrestling regularly. But we all know what The Rock is, who he is, and what he's done. The fact that Cody laid it in, man, it felt good. It felt like redemption. It felt like validity. It felt like, Cody, we're literally allowing you to do something that very few people in this industry could get away from, which is slapping an active and current future / WWE Hall of Famer, a guy that you could make an argument for him in certain cases. I'm sure he's on a lot of people's Mount Rushmore, depending on when they were born. So for them to let Cody do that, it tells me that there's a chance, a good chance, that he dethrones Roman at WrestleMania XL. Now, if I was going to Vegas and I had to put my bottom line dollar on it, I'm going to be sincere, Skywalker, and I'll bring you back in on this one, man. There's just something about them wanting Roman to break certain records that tells me that he's not going to be able to finish his story at WrestleMania XL, man. I wish that I could answer this question in the affirmative. Yes, he's done enough. Yes, he's waited an entire year. Yes, he made a miraculous recovery. Yes, he's outstanding on the microphone. Yes, he can hold his own against anybody in the ring. Yes, he helped start another fantastic promotion, and for that reason alone, he deserves the biggest possible opportunity and stage. But, man, I'm sorry. And I'm with Dallas here. I'm with the doc, man. It's the Hogan record, Skywalker. They're dead set, just like they want a New Day to break the previous tag record and then the Bloodline to break their tag record, like they wanted to destroy CM Punk's record and, you know, the Bellas to beat AJ Lee's record. It's just written already, bro. They want him to break Hogan's record because he is the best thing going probably since The Rock, reaching heights that maybe John Cena got to, but I'm not 100% sure. Bro, sadly, it is not enough for me to want to put my money on Cody. As much as I would love to see him pull it off, it's not going to happen, bro. It's not enough. Skywalker, what are your thoughts?
Night Owl, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to level with you. And again, a lot of times, this may strike people as kind of strange, but many times I could agree with the good doctor on this one. I'm going to tell you right now, WrestleMania 40, Cody Rhodes finishes the story. But there's going to be one more little twist. I see Cody Rhodes winning the WWE Undisputed Championship in this Bloodline Rules match, and here's why. We got a tag team matchup between Roman Reigns and The Rock taking on Cody and Seth Rollins. Cody and Seth Rollins, I don't think have enough to stop this team. But by making it Bloodline Rules, what's going to stop The Rock? And you've seen all the little nuances that people have talked about online. What's going to stop The Rock from when it comes time to be at that final step with all the other people that have been fed up with the bloodline, and The Rock being the one to finally end it once and for all, leading to Cody finishing his story? That's my thought. All right. Well, right now as it stands here, Night Owl, are you good to go?
Yeah, baby. Let's keep it rolling.
All right. Well, like I said, we're going to go ahead here real quick. I'm going to go ahead as we take care of our banner here. I'm going to throw one more question here for the high spots. We're going to have our good friend, of course, Lil Show, the Redneck Brawler, going to join us here in just a few minutes. But you know what? We've got more
Ready, baby. Do that thing up.
of the high spots. Let's take care of it here tonight. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to our next question here. And speaking of which, we got to bring it up. We got to talk about it. We got to talk about the man who most recently became All Elite, the one, the only. Okada joins AEW and then joins the Elite of all things. Okada is the newest member of the Elite alongside the Young Bucks. Is heel really the way to go for his AEW re-debut? I'm going to tell you right now.
So good.
And again, as the name says, he is the rainmaker. He makes the money rain. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not going to say that it's truthful, but I have heard several media outlets say that when all the things are settled, I've heard rumors that Okada's contract with AEW was nearing $5 million a year. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he's getting that kind of money, he deserves it because he's that good. But to me, I think it's one of those where we don't
got a
see.
bargain.
Yeah,
I think AEW got a bargain. I'm going to be honest.
I don't think we see Okada this way for long because when it comes down to it, him making a statement with the Young Bucks by his side, I don't think it's going to last for long because Okada can't make the statement without Matthew and Nicholas Jackson there running interference. And I'm going to tell you right now, he wants to be the top guy. And again, it's great to be with the Jacksons. But when it comes down to it, Okada wants to be in that number one spot all by himself.
That tells me, because when I smell Okada, there's always a little bit of a stench of a silky, curly-haired Canadian that comes to mind. He hasn't been seen in AEW actively wrestling for a little bit of time, Skywalker, but many could argue that this man was the other half of one of the greatest wrestling matches in pro wrestling history. It tells me that when Kenny Omega comes back, he's coming back as a babyface to claim what rightfully belongs to him. And with Okada presently with the Bucks, I am just itching. I am just praying. And I think this match alone, the rematch of Okada and Omega in America, oddly enough, most of the North American fan base has not even heard of Okada, much less seen the matches or the match at Wrestle Kingdom a couple of years ago between Okada and Omega. So, bro, that $5 million, they'll make that up just in merch alone because Okada's going to sell $5 million worth of merch within his first year. I have no question about it because I haven't even thought about buying a t-shirt in a while until I saw that he showed up. Now I'm like, hey, bro, baby, I need an Okada shirt, baby. It is WrestleMania season after all. So Skywalker, him being heel, I think plays perfectly into the return of Omega eventually and down the road. I think it gives him all the support that he could ever need because he can just focus about doing what he does best, and that is performing inside the ring. And I want to give credit to both WWE and AEW because they're finally letting their Japanese and American and Mexican wrestlers, international wrestlers, speak their native language, and then they're doing the subtitles. Tell me the Kabuki Warriors aren't more badass when they're talking Japanese than when they're trying to talk English. I mean, come on, man. Their culture is what makes them cool, and then we ask them to try to speak our language. Dude, when I watch Naruto, I'm not looking for the dub version, baby. I want to hear it in Japanese, and I can read the subtitles. I'm a good reader. So I hope for many, many reasons that they let him do what he does best. Let the Jacksons, I refuse to call them by their full first names because that's so corny, okay? The Jackson CEOs. I think he landed in a perfect spot, and I think the easy thing to do would have been just to throw him in there as a babyface and have him kind of work his way up the ranks. But no, bro, he's just too good. He's not going to start in developmental. He's not going to pay his dues like the other guys do. He is the freaking rainmaker. Is it 3-time IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, Skywalker? Is it more than that? It's got to be more than that at this point, right?
Well, tell you what, we're going to go ahead here real quick. We've got our wonderful media team that's going to be taking care of that for us. But you know something? While we're taking care of that, Night Owl, I'm going to go ahead and hit that randomize. We got a lot of great comments here. And actually, speaking of which, I want to go ahead. John Haas brought something up interesting, too. Culture helps character development as it's more believable. And again, Night Owl, I got to agree with you. In this day and age, we have people from all around the world showcasing their abilities. And when we look at this, and we see all of these different personalities that are coming forward, allow them to get what needs to be taken care of. Allow them to have the opportunity to showcase what makes them such a phenomenal in-ring competitor. Now, speaking of which, we have our wonderful team here. When you look at things here, 5-time heavyweight champion, 2-time world heavyweight champion.
Thank you.
So again, technically, would that be a 7-time world champion?
7-time world champion. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, this guy is so legit that if he's not immediately facing some of the top guys in AEW, they're making a mistake. I don't care what story or narrative that they have to paint to make sure that Okada is getting top flight matches and facing competition worthy of him. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. By the way, Travis Scott, Diamond certified rapper and record producer, live at Monday Night Raw here tonight. I think are they in Houston, Texas? I believe they're in Houston, Texas tonight. So yes, that's right. Travis Scott in the building during tonight's WWE Raw. Go ahead, Skywalker.
Well, you know something, Night Owl. I mean, again, it's a lot of great discussion here, and we've got a little bit of time here. I know that we've had our great friend Perry Hartman was watching earlier on this evening. Hopefully, he'll be able to stop by here in just a couple minutes.
Him the link. I didn't send him the link.
He's got the link, and hopefully he'll be able to join us here. But you know what? We got more time. We got the Lil Show going to be on here in just a few minutes. Let me go ahead and throw another question out here.
Before we do, I think we got to hit the sponsors one more time before we get into this question. Would you mind?
All right. You know what? Before we do that, and you know what? We're going to go ahead and we're going to throw that out here after this question, Night Owl.
Okay, fair enough.
Because this one, and I was sitting here looking at it, and we haven't pulled it up yet, but I'm going to tell you right now, as we see the question, WWE and Prime have struck a record-setting deal to feature the sports drink as the first ever brand logo to appear in the center of the ring during PLEs. Did you expect this to happen? Now, Night Owl, I'm going to level with you.
Okay.
I know that you and I have talked about this at length. I know that you and I both have a very loud opinion about this. So tell you what I'm going to do. We've got a big interview coming up here in a few minutes. I want you to take a couple minutes and relax, because I've got something that I want to say right here about this situation.
Okay.
So go ahead. You want to be so kind. Thank you for going ahead and taking care of this. Now, for many, many years in the world of professional sports, we have seen sponsorships. You could talk about minor league baseball. You talk about hockey. You talk about football. You talk about pro boxing. And you can even talk about the world of mixed martial arts. But the one thing that for years and years and years has been able to stay away for the most part from the idea of having a sponsor for the ring has been the WWE. Now, to give you an idea, there are a lot of promotions. Even AEW has had some of those situations where they've had a sponsor, but the one constant has been the WWE. Now, we look at what's here, and again, thank you, AJ, for the comment. To me, that's one of those that would make more sense. It really would. The idea of having the WWE logo in the center, that would be much more to my liking. But you know something? And we talked about this before we went live on the air. I think all this changes the second that TKO buys the WWE. Now it's to a point where the WWE is going to capitalize on every little thing that they can to make money. And I'm going to tell you right now, me personally, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Call me a wrestling purist, if you will. But when it comes down to it, you're talking about something that's taking away, and it sounds crazy, but it's taking away from the world of professional wrestling. Instead of seeing the competitors inside the 20 by 20 ring that we call the squared circle, we're going to have people that are going to be drawing more attention to that logo in the center of the ring. And that, to me, while it's the new thing, it's 2024, it's what people are going to be seeing in professional wrestling. But to me, I think it's taking a step that we don't need. Let the wrestling speak for itself. Don't let all these other things be out there. I know that the independents, they have sponsors that sponsor the rings or the turnbuckles or the mats, and that's great and well and good. But when it comes down to it, to me, the WWE, and thank you, Jim Harris, for making that that opportunity. But as you see here, the company should always come first. And you know what? I think even comes before the company is professional wrestling. And I'm going to tell you right now, Night Owl, and I know that you've had a minute to let me rant, and I appreciate you for that. But when it comes down to it, we figured it was coming. It was only a matter of time. But hopefully somebody makes it a point that they realize that this is not the way professional wrestling needs to be. Maybe you call me old school, but that's the way it is. And that's the way that Luke Roberts views it. Now, Night Owl, I know you're here. I know you've been taking care of things. I'm going to level with you. I'm going to sit back here because I know you've got your own take on this. So I'm going to take a couple minutes here, and I'm going to sit back and let you have an opportunity to talk about this, because this one, and again, Sonny Money talked about pulling that curtain back a little bit. You and I went round and round on this one. You and I had a lot of different discussion on this. So to be fair, as we always talk about here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, I'm going to give you an opportunity to say your piece, because I know you and I come from two completely different points of view on this.
Well, Skywalker, I think you're actually going to be surprised as I give you a minute to kind of gather your thoughts. I actually, as you were so eloquently explaining yourself, I found myself nodding my head. Yep, I agree. Yep, I agree. Yep. And then I started to kind of inference examples of where we've seen this throughout other sports and entertainment. And one that rings true to me as a basketball fan is when a few years ago, there was an agreement made throughout the entire NBA to allow logos on the jerseys. Logos on the jerseys. If you guys have ever accidentally or on purpose watched a game, you can see that there's 32 different basketball teams, and each one of them has a different sponsor. Usually it's regional, but in some cases it's national brands. So I don't necessarily believe that this is something that's shocking, only because with the deal, the TKO deal that you referenced earlier, I think it was more of what we're starting to see with those other leagues is going to be present and regular throughout the WWE moving forward, because ultimately it's about capitalizing on opportunity and controlling where people's eyeballs are going. I mean, that's what it all comes down to. It's no different than the algorithm on everyone's phones when they're going like this and they're going like that, and they're swiping this way and they're swiping that way. What catches our eye? What keeps us intrigued? What keeps us engaged? So do I agree with it? Do I like it? Absolutely not. I think there needs to be a certain level of purity, just like I believe that wrestlers should wipe their feet before they step in the ring. Like I believe that people that aren't from the business or have, at least been introduced properly into the business, that they shouldn't go into a pro wrestling ring. Just like I believe that fans have no business touching wrestlers, just like wrestlers. There's some rules that are written, both written and unwritten, that should always be respected. So again, as I listened to you, Skywalker, I thought to myself, okay, if we're not okay with it being in the middle of the ring, if anything, put your company's logo right in the middle of the ring, what are we okay with? Are we okay with ring aprons? Are we okay with turnbuckles? Are we okay with superstars putting it on their own gear? Now, if that meant that those superstars are getting their own deals and they're able to capitalize vis-a-vis Mandy Rose. Think of, instead of having to get rid of Mandy Rose because of your policy, if she wanted to advertise her brand on her gear, then you allow these. We were talking about free agents earlier, some of the restrictions that you have when you get signed to a bigger company. I think these are the sorts of things that we could see eventually if we truly want talent on all levels to be independent contractors. I think we're a long way from that. And the bigger these titans get, when you go from UFC to WWE now to together under TKO, I think those things are going to be less and less likely. I think intellectual property means everything. If you guys have seen the movie recently, it won an Oscar. It was about Michael Jordan's life and about the brand. And he actually wasn't even in the movie. It was all about kind of like his mom and the deals that she made that led us to one of the most successful brands in history, which is the Jordan brand in partnership with Nike. So again, I will reiterate, I don't like it. I think it takes away from the purity of the sport, but it's not surprising. My question to the audience is, what are you guys willing to tolerate? Are you okay with them putting it on their gear if it means that they can make their own individual deals, kind of like NIL in college now, where the young guys can go out and get their own monies? I mean, that's something. And Skywalker, when you come back on, hopefully this isn't over everybody's heads, but what is okay? Like, what are we willing to accept, right? Like, the line is, don't put that crap in the middle of our ring, which they're already doing. Also, remember, they already did this with Bray Wyatt, God rest his soul, and LA Knight with that Mountain Dew match. Like, the whole freaking arena was Mountain Dew logos everywhere. So let's not act like this Logan Paul deal, and no disrespect to whoever placed the question, but this isn't like, oh, wow, they've never put a logo in a ring before. I can't believe it. This is a blasphemy to the wrestling gods or whatever. I don't think it's quite that. As a matter of fact, I thought that was more over the top than this. But I guess my question to you guys in rebuttal is, what are we okay with? The gear, the turnbuckles, the dress, what are we willing to tolerate? Because these guys believe that these are the things that they have to do to continue to grow and become global. So what is worthy of accepting to where they don't go over that line? Skywalker, I pose the same question to you, brother. I know it's a tough one. Let me hear what you got.
Well, right now, Night Owl, I want to go ahead and take a minute here, and we want to go to the Wrestle Talk podcast family for just a minute. But before we do, make sure to share everything with your friends, man. This is a great discussion. I'm going to bring up some of these things in here, just seeing what people say. For example, Parker Haas. What's next? Brands on the turnbuckles? Could it be done? Yeah. Then we go to our good friend Jim Harris. That's what aprons and side curtains are for. You always put the logo in the middle of the ring. We got our friends like Herb Simmons talking about things here in the ring. We talk about the idea of, we'll move on here to, again, another one by John Haas. It's the UFC influence.
Absolutely.
We talked about Jim Harris. You keep it on the fencing or the barricades, and you keep things, even the side curtains around the audience. And again, I want to call on my good friend Herb Simmons. It's called marketing. Unfortunately, we can't do anything about it. If their product is that good, people will know what they are watching.
Bravo.
I'm going to tell you right now.
Because I think it's inevitable. I agree with Herb.
It's one of those, when you sit there and you look at it, Night Owl, it's one of those, was it coming? Yes. Unfortunately, to the eyes of the wrestling purist, ooh. And this one's taking a little bit of a side turn here. And we're going to probably come back to this later on in the show. Just think if the WWE had a 6-sided ring. I'll tell you right now, that will not happen.
Nah, man.
That's just simple, straightforward.
I don't
I'm going to say it nicely. No.
See,
no.
MLL does that sometimes. They do stuff like that. If you want to see that, it's out there. Sorry, I don't want to see that. Not in WWE.
Night Owl, when you look at this, though, I mean, again, it's one of those where, do we want to see it happen? No. Do the purists want to see it happen? No. But the fans gonna see it? Yes. I dare say it's the 2024 mentality of professional wrestling. And when it is right now, I mean, it's one of those, you're going to get a lot of different opinions on this. And hold on.
What about you? Hold on. You said, hold on. And we'll get back to JP here, but we are getting a lot of opinions. I'm curious about yours. Because I'm the one that's like, okay, where do we find the middle ground? How do you feel about that specific idea of the talent being able to don logos, but it's their deal? Maybe it's a 50-50 split with WWE, but then, I don't know. I just kind of like the concept knowing that if they're eventually, it's going to be on the gear. We all know this, right? If they're doing it in the ring, eventually it's going to be on the gear. At least give the talent some stake in it. That's not just their check. That's not just it's so funny. We were talking about salary earlier, right? It becomes that. And I think, like we learned again with Mandy Rose, she's like, if you guys are going to try to cut off this revenue stream from me, then I'm going to just go out and do my own thing. And from what I hear, she's done rather well. So what about that particular idea of them kind of coming? I don't see WWE doing this, but I'm trying to be the guy that finds the middle ground, because the advertisement, the over advertisement is not only coming, it's here. It's here. Sorry.
You know, Night Owl, I got a whole bunch of different little avenues to take here.
Go.
The first one I'm going to look at is Xavier Woods. When we had all this issue about Twitter streams and all that kind of stuff, who was the one they didn't touch?
Up, up, down, down. Up, up, down, down.
Because it made a large degree of money. It was outside of the WWE. They had nothing to take ownership of it.
It was fairly wholesome because I used to watch it. So that helped.
But it's one of those where it was something that was created outside of the WWE and somebody tried to take advantage of it. You talk about a Mandy Rose. Now, another one I want to throw out here to you.
On that one.
Well, give you an idea. I mean, we're going to go to a little bit different tangent here. Remember when AEW got their deal with Hot Topic?
Okay.
I honestly figured that maybe that was the time to where AEW was going to turn a corner like that. But you know something, Night Owl? And this is going to be something that you and I and a lot of the viewers have not necessarily thought of. It's already happening. And you want to know how? When you buy a wrestler's t-shirt, when you buy their towel, you buy their 8x10, you buy things like that. A lot of wrestlers are wearing their own merchandise to the ring. And that goes back to me, like a lot of what our good friend Herb Simmons was talking about. It's merchandising. But the question is, to give you an idea, and I want to bring this one up here, and then we're going to come back to it.
Conflict of interest one is good. Yeah, okay, that one, yeah.
Conflict of interest, what would be the guideline? But you see, then you've got a real slippery slope here. Because you're looking at it, and like you said, Night Owl, wrestlers are independent contractors.
Well, to a point, until they get to the big leagues.
Right, and that's one of those where when you're at a local level, to me, I look at it from a perspective that a promoter shouldn't be able. The only way that there could possibly be an issue here, and it goes back to something that was said earlier, and I'm going to go back to what John Haas said. A conflict of interest since he's a competitor and a champ. But you know something? To me, there's a slippery slope here.
A little bit, yeah.
Because if you have somebody who has a sponsorship that is either in direct competition or goes directly against what the promotion has, that's a completely different avenue.
That's true.
And that's back to what Herb had said before of what's there. You know what, Night Owl? What I'm going to do is this. I'm actually right now, I'm going to step aside here for a minute because we've got a call coming in from our featured guest. Let me go ahead.
Let's go.
And step out here. How much you want?
Yeah. All right, guys. Luke Skywalker Roberts making the run, securing a Lil Show. I don't know if you guys have seen. I really hope that by now, if you guys have tuned into the show before, that you're aware, because we've really tried to highlight it. Just a couple of weeks ago, we had Pinky Shortcake and Psycho on the show from the big Little Brawlers on Discovery. This week, we're excited to have another representative of Big Little Brawlers on Discovery, also of Micro Wrestling. Little Big Show, or I should say Little Show. I don't know if you guys have had the opportunity to catch up with the amazing broadcast and the story that's being told on Discovery about these guys and really about the world of professional wrestling. That's what really took me aback more than anything else. Like, they're not only telling the story of these individuals, but it's kind of showing the common viewer a little bit of a peek behind the curtain about how much passion and energy and time goes into putting shows together, whether it's a micro wrestling show or a traditional show. Ultimately, there's a lot of unsung heroes that we all know about as fans, and that's for those of us that have been lucky enough to work shows, whether it's as support staff or as in-ring talent. Like, there's so many unsung heroes, and I think that's the one thing that has stuck out to me the most throughout the show. They're highlighting everybody from the production crew, obviously the talent, the managers, the owner. Everybody's getting a little opportunity to tell their story, and that's what's so cool about professional wrestling. There's like not to be redundant or anything, but it's like its own micro universe with so many different moving parts. And when that story is told, it always warms my heart, because I've got my own pro wrestling journey that I think I'm still kind of on. Partially, it's been like through fantasy wrestling. Partially, it's been through commentary. Partially, it's been through like a fan. And then partially, it's been through being a podcaster. So, and speaking of which, a quick one here from our guy, the hardcore champ, longest reigning of all time, by the way. Don't forget about it. Brag about it. It says, can't wait to go to Micro Wrestling Federation on the 5th of May in Ransom, West Virginia, and on the 8th in Leesburg, VA. So shout out to you, Hoss, man. Continue to support local independent wrestling and follow Hoss's example, you guys. I mean, seriously, like, I was fortunate enough, and I'm glad to have this opportunity. I was fortunate enough this weekend to not only participate as a fan in 2 professional wrestling shows, because the fans are participants as well. If you've been to enough shows, you know how it is. You're there, you're making noise, they're feeding off of you, you're feeding off of them. It's such a wonderful experience. But I also got to run to a bunch of my friends that I used to work with. So a huge shout out to the brand new promotion here in the Kansas City area, Fountain City Pro, Josh and Chase and everybody that contributed to making that show what it was. Obviously goes without saying, the house was absolutely packed. The space was comfortable. Everybody was super like into it. The crowd from beginning to end was passionate and loud. The talent really put their hearts out on the line, and there wasn't a dull moment throughout the entire show. I laughed, I cried, I got angry a little bit. Jake Fowler was out there causing ruckus, and the captain, Guthrie was out there. It was just such a good time. So shout out to both Fountain City Pro, and then of course on Saturday we went over to Leavenworth, Heartland Championship, Billy Simmons, Ray Leone, Dick Richards, Scotty Tyler. I mean, I could continue to go down the list of all the amazing talents. But of course, the real is Calvin Aldridge. I mean, the list really goes on and on of the who's who of Midwest professional wrestling on Saturday night as well at one of the coolest venues. It's a hotel and a wrestling venue. It's called The Local. I'd probably go there if there wasn't a wrestling show. It's such a cool place. It's got such an awesome history. The beautiful town of Leavenworth. There's a lot of local eats around there. Fishing hole a couple miles down the road. Just an awesome, awesome place to take a staycation. So I wanted to just take this brief opportunity, Skywalker, to put over 2 amazing independent promotions. And again, like our guy Haas, he's going to see micro wrestling really soon. So for me, it's like, if it's in your area, it's probably like $12-15 for a ticket. Even if you're a little tight on money, that's not really bad. And a lot of times hot dogs are like $1 or $2. And drinks are $1, so you can actually bring the whole family, get something in their bellies, and not literally break the bank. So, just wanted to share that, man. Oh, there you go. And I got to get back to an SICW show. So, a lot of pro wrestling things coming up because you guys know I haven't really been outside. So, I'm starting to get back outside, and I got to get my ass back over to Dynamo and SICW and the Hall of Fame. Skywalker, save me. I got a lot of wrestling I got to get caught up on, man. A lot.
Well, you know something, Night Owl? We're going to talk about these, and I'm going to level with you here. I'm going to tell you right now, I've been in contact with the man himself. Lil Show is going to be here in just a few minutes. He's getting ready. He's getting all the technology set up. He's getting the microphones ready. He's getting that video set up so that everything is good to go. The Lil Show from Micro Wrestling is going to be here in just a couple minutes. But you know something, Night Owl? We talked about this earlier, and I'm going to level with the viewers. We haven't taken care of this. We're going to have an interview here in just a minute with Lil Show from Big Little Brawlers and from Micro Wrestling. But, we got to take care of one little bit of business first. And, of course, I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to my good friend, the one, the only, the late Lord Alfred Hayes.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
As you know, right here, we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about all of our great sponsors here at the Wrestle Talk podcast. We want to thank Royal Mills Transportation. If you're ever in the Kansas City area, make it a point to catch up with DeJuan Mills and Royal Mills Transportation. Noble Men's Barber Lounge, Kansas City, Kincaid Arcade at the Oak Park Mall, our great friends over at Interstate 70 Sports Media, our good friends, the Maestro Jeremy Karp, Christopher Miles, and all the great folks over there. Little Popeye Designs, home of those great Wrestle Talk podcast tumblers, and the FWWC, the world's premier fantasy wrestling group, which, as a matter of fact, you can catch, I do believe it's every Thursday night at 7:30. Am I correct, Night Owl? Thursdays at 7:30 to catch FWWC tonight?
Correcto mundo, unless the CEO has had one too many cervezas, it may be like 7:35. No different from us, man. We start when we ready, baby. This is the kind of show we are. This is live radio. I don't give a damn. 5 minutes late, we're gonna stay 20 minutes late anyway.
Well, Night Owl, we're waiting.
We love you.
We're waiting on Lil Show, but I'm gonna tell you right now, as we're sitting here and we're getting things taken care of, I got one thing to say.
What's up?
I'm not even going to give it an introduction. It's something we haven't seen in a while. But you know what? I think you're going to know exactly where I'm going when I hit that wonderful play button.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up. Everything is fun, everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet's to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. It's all about the he says, she says bullshit.
I'm ready, baby. I can go first.
Like I said, it's been a while since we've had the shoot and shout segment here on the program. And thank you, Tyler, for your commentary here. And right now, Night Owl, I know that this has been something that has been on your mind for several weeks. I know you've wanted to have a shoot and shout moment. And I figured before we got Lil Show here on the program, I got to let you have the floor here.
All right, man. Well, mine is, it's just as embarrassing as it is anger provoking. So for the very first time, I decided to take my kids, because when they're little, that you can take them to things. It's like taking your kid to Disney World when they're too young. They take it in, but they don't really experience it enough to remember it, right? So it's better to wait till they're of a certain age, in my opinion. Well, no different with a Kansas City classic known as Go Chicken Go. So I decided to take my kids just for fun this weekend to go get some Go Chicken Go. Now, for those of you that don't know, this is Old Town Kansas City fried gizzards and chicken and all kinds of delicious stuff. And gizzards, by the way, are also very popular there. So we go and get all this stuff from Go Chicken Go. We're all excited and it smells fantastic. Well, my daughter, she ordered like this whole little container of gravy, which she intended to eat with some of the famous biscuits that they have, because the biscuits there are wonderful. And sad for a lot of you guys in the country that probably will never get a chance to try Go Chicken Go. If you're ever in the area, holler at me. I will point you in the right direction. But anyway, so we get down the road. Skywalker realizes she forgot to order her biscuits to go with the gravy. She forgot. She was disappointed. She didn't know what to do. Well, we were a little bit too far away to go back, and the traffic wasn't exactly perfect at the time. So she's like, hey, I have a great idea. Why don't we just stop by Mickey D's and pick up some fries, and I'll dunk my fries in the gravy. I was like, you know what? That's not a terrible idea. So we go ahead and make the cut, the extra half a mile or so to go to the McDonald's. Bro, I pull up. No, I didn't have the app. Maybe I should do that. Shame on me. I pulled up. I just order a large fry. And of course, I'm listening to the kids in the back down, arguing, going back and forth about whoever. Don't even pay attention. The guy's like, all right, thank you. Pull to the second window. Bro, I pull the second window, and my man says $4.67 for a large fry at McDonald's. Nothing else. $4.67, Skywalker. Now, for those of you who know me, I don't like to necessarily consider myself a cheap individual. Not frugal, either. But, bro, there's just something about my past and growing up in poverty that won't allow me to move forward if I feel like I'm being robbed. Plain and simple, $6.47 for a large fry is highway robbery, Skywalker. You know why? Because right across the street at Price Chopper, local Kansas City supermarket, I can get an entire bag of potatoes for how much? $5, bro. I could feed a small village with that sack of potatoes. And the fries that we're going to get at McDonald's, which, by the way, they are delicious, are going to be gone before we even get to the house. So you know what I did? I backed it up about 3 feet, and I got my ass out of there, Skywalker. I ordered the fries. I didn't pay, and of course, I didn't get them. I wasn't going to pay that ridiculous price. And so my shoot shout is this simple, bro. The Night Owl, no matter how little or petty it is, if I feel like you're getting one over on me, 3 feet back, my ass is out of there. I'm not tolerating that shit. $4.67 for a large fry, bro. I can only imagine what would have happened if I would have asked them for some extra dipping sauce. We definitely would have been in the $6 situation for a freaking large fry. Ridiculous nonsense. Never again will I pull up there without the McDonald's app, because that is just highway effing robbery, Skywalker. So I couldn't believe it. I'm embarrassed that I left, but I'm also a little proud of myself and pissed off that they would try to stiff me like that. for a freaking thing of fries. I can't believe it. I was freaking beside myself.
Oh, well, I'm going to tell you right now, Night Owl, just to let you know, you're talking about the biscuits and talking about all that, and I'm going to level with you. I've had an opportunity to spend some quality time with the Night Owl and his family. Had an opportunity to go to Joe's in Kansas City, and I got it right this time. I know you're going to give me grief because I always mess it up, but I'm right this time. Joe's of Kansas City, great barbecue, by the way, but I'm going to level with you. To me, when it comes to biscuits, the best one, hands down to me, and I'm going to give a shout out to my good friend. Some of you know him here in the St. Louis area as Scott Murphy. Some of you know him as in the past he wrestled as Vladik Vornov. I had an opportunity to take me to a place out in extreme southeastern Ohio. It's a place called Tudor's Biscuit World. And I know for a fact that our good friend Hardcore Haas and longtime member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family, the one, the only Nightmare Jones, are probably familiar with Tudor's Biscuit World because of how close it is to places like West Virginia and things along the line. And I got to tell you, when you find a good place for good food like that, you got to have it. And again, I agree with you. I remember, I think I got a frozen soda and an order of fries, and it was like $6.50. I'm like, what's it all coming to, man? I mean, what's next? I mean, again, I remember somebody saying on here, the dollar menu is gone. And to give you an idea, it's one of those where the dollar menu's gone, and we might want to have a moment of silence for the dollar menu because there were a lot of great things there. But you know something, Night Owl? My shoot and shout is one of those where it's really close to my heart. First of all, I want to give a shout out to a man that a lot of people have overlooked, and that is the brand new MMWA heavyweight champion Slammer, winning the MMWA championship this past weekend. Want to give him a shout out. The top of the mountain in the MMWA, Slammer being successful this past weekend. Now for my shoot. And I'm going to level with you right now. Mine's real simple and to the point. I get aggravated over not a lot of things. You've known me for years, Night Owl. I don't stress anything. But I'm going to level with you right now. I am so fed up with companies that bring you trash cans and basically say these things are indestructible. My most recent trash can, I've used it 3 times. 3! Less than a month. And it's already broken to a point that the company's got to bring me a new one. 3 weeks. 3 trash pickups and it's broken. That just aggravates me. I don't want to change my trash cans every month. Give me a trash can that's dependable. And you'll have a very happy Roberts.
Cheap plastic, bro. That's what everything is made of these days. Bro, my first car was an 86 Fleetwood, bro. And if I would have had the money to fix it, that thing would still be kicking today. And guess what? I could hit a deer, I could hit a wall, and that thing would take a licking and keep on ticking. Everything's made of cheap plastic nowadays. Skywalker, what are you going to do? Oh, he's going to freeze. That's what he's going to do. Okay. Skywalker. All right, let me kick you off the stage real quick so you can get your camera situation situated. Guys, thank you so much.
No. You're not going to kick me off of anything.
No, you froze.
No. You're not going to kick me off of anything. And there's a reason why, Night Owl.
You froze. That's it.
No. You kicked me off because you wanted to take this introduction from me.
No.
No. I know how it is. But you know, you said earlier on, you're one step ahead of me. Well, tonight, I'm one step ahead of you. So here's what we're going to do. I actually have it on a good authority that my longtime friend, my own personal family, a man known as Ivar the Micro, has given me permission to do this introduction.
Hey, I'm going to get out of your way, bro. You do you.
Tonight, ladies and gentlemen here, and I know, Night Owl, you're going to take care of the music and get this set up for our guest. Tonight is a man who has traveled the world of professional wrestling. A man who is no stranger to championship gold. A man who in the course of the past year has not only traveled the country far and wide, but is a man who has single-handedly exploded the world of television. He has single-handedly changed Tuesday night television on the Discovery Channel. A man who, without question, leads the Micro Wrestling Federation, the MWF, to heights that many people have said it will never see again. He is, without question, one of the greatest champions in the history of micro wrestling. And tonight, one of the greatest champions is going to join the Wrestle Talk podcast family. So, ladies and gentlemen of the Wrestle Talk podcast, it is my esteemed honor and privilege to welcome in to the Wrestle Talk podcast, to welcome this wrestler in to the professional wrestling world and welcome him to our family. And of course, Night Owl, you know something? As soon as I get things ready, it's all on you. I have the big introduction. I have everything taken care of, and you change it up. But you know what? Have no fear. Luke Roberts takes care of the technology. I don't need extra cables. I don't need extra technology. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome the one, the only, the undisputed, the unified, the one and only micro wrestling champion himself. Let's go ahead and hit the music for the one, the only, the redneck brawler himself, Lil Show. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by the one, the only Lil Show. And Lil Show, I got to tell you right now, I sincerely hope that I did my nephew Ivar proud with that introduction of a man who, I mean, again, you transcend the world of professional wrestling. I hope I did your introduction justice here this evening.
I think you did awesome, man. I think you did great.
All right. Well, Lil Show, I got to tell you right now, I mean, again, speaking from personal experiences, as the Night Owl talked about, he's going to join us here again in just a few minutes. Having an opportunity to see Big Little Brawlers and the success that it's been. I mean, again, we already had Pinky Shortcake and Psycho, a man that you're very familiar with.
Right.
You talk about Hot Rod, you talk about Ivar the Micro, you talk about people like Micro Jackson and Jamaica Joe and Disco Dom. I mean, I could go on and on and on. But I got to ask you, how does it feel to be at the very tip top of the mountain in micro wrestling?
Speechless, really. Coming from how far that the company, from where the company started, and just, the road that we've been on. Sometimes it's been like this, but, here in the past, I want to say 3-4 years, we've just been keep going up. We have an amazing Jack. He's an amazing boss, CEO. He really cares about us, and he's helping us to get to the level that we want to be at. But to be at the top, also, we got new guys coming in, and you also got the guys like Hot Rod, who are very, very athletic. You got Jamaica Joe, who are very, very athletic. All these very athletic guys, new guys like Zach Presley coming in. So it's just like the company is steadily evolving. And so the more that evolves, the more I got to up my game. The more I got to go outside the box and see what's something that's different that I could do to still stay on top, because there's still guys steadily trying to get there, But to answer your question, it feels amazing, and I'm speechless about it. So
Well, Lil Show, I mean, again, being around professional wrestling as long as I've been, we had an opportunity to speak just a couple weeks ago. Again, professional wrestling, when you want to get to the top of the mountain, you've got to make sure you take your game to the next level. And
Yes,
once
sir.
you get there, it's that much more of a challenge because they say you have that metaphorical target on your back all the time. And I mean,
You
again,
do.
when you look at micro wrestling, I mean, again, the list of people, like I said, you've got Zach Presley, you've got a Jamaica Joe, you've got a Disco Dom. At the time, in the past, like the Micro Rocker, you've had Psycho. I mean, you've got a lot of wrestlers who bring it each and every night. And I got to give you kudos, man, because I mean, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up a little graphic here real quick. Bear with me just a minute. I'm going to see if I can bring this up here. And we talk about Big Little Brawlers and the success it had, but I want to bring this up here. Bear with me. I want to hopefully this will cooperate with me. Right here. I should bring it up here. You see it
Okay.
on the screen.
Yeah.
The first micro pay-per-view. And I got to tell you right now, as you would always see right here a little over a year ago, if you look right up there at the top, just like it's been for a good long time, you and Baby Jesus. Now, I know for a fact full well that you have a very storied rivalry against Baby Jesus. So
Well, yeah,
I
we're
got to ask
brothers.
you,
So.
I know, but what is it like when you're in this sport? And I mean, I speak from the idea. My brother was a professional wrestler. My nephew is involved with micro wrestling. My brother, the other brother, I don't want to talk about because he's causing trouble all across the Midwest. But
Well,
what is it
okay.
like when you have to get in the ring with the top prize in micro wrestling, and you got to compete against your own family?
You know, man, me and him, we have been doing this for 20 years. So we started at the same time. We was trained, and like we just, while we was in school, we just, when we was in our like teenage years, we was already doing this, and there's in the indies, but in here, I thought like, when I first came over here, I was just going to wrestle him, and then all these other guys started coming in, and we had to do different matches because me and him, not saying nothing wrong about the guys that were here at that time, but me and him couldn't wrestle each other because we needed to wrestle other guys to bring the guys to our level. Like I said, not talking bad about the guys at that time. And at the time, I didn't want to do that. I just wanted to, my goal every night, and it's kind of selfish, is I want to steal the show. I'm still learning that it's all about one show, the whole show, and how that comes together. And I've learned that in the past 4 years. But before that, I want to go out there and I wanted to steal the show. Whatever I had to do, I was going to do it. If I had to do a backflip, if I had to jump off or do something crazy, I wanted my name to be what the people talked about, but these past 4 years, I've learned that it's not just about one person; it's about the whole show. And but going back to wrestling my brother, we just have that chemistry in the ring, and like he is one of my top competitors. Like he knows what I'm going to do before I even do it. Our match is like second coming, and I mean we pretty much fought all of our lives. I mean I remember, our dad would fight with us on the trampoline, just like Jeff Hardy's. You watch the Hardy Boys; they would do their stuff on the trampoline, and that's how our dad did us. He would just fight with us on the trampoline. So I fought my brother my whole life. But being a competitor, you want to get it. It came easy for my brother. It came easy for my brother to get the cheers, the pops, that's just like bigger. Like he can just go out and he doesn't really have to say anything. It's kind of weird, but his people just love him just because of who he is, right? Uh, so I had to do something different. I had to, like, again, think outside the box because it's not going to come that easy for me. I'm a bigger. I'm not as, I can't do as much crazy stunts as he can, but I can talk and I can do a match. And so I just made that work with me. Um, but going back to him, man, he's amazing. But to have him to keep wrestling, and I think I don't know if he's in line next for the belt or not. I think it's on our next pay per view we got coming up on this one. I just I don't know if, on the Micro app right now. If you watch the Micro pay-per-view on the third one, I just beat him. I think my next opponent, because people are saying that I can't do nothing without Hot Rod, so maybe it's time I prove them that I can. So.
Well, like I said, Big Show. I mean, again, I also want to give you a little bit here. As you see here on the screen, we have Tyler Cooley, a huge fan of yours, talking about being such a huge fan. We had our good friend John Haas, who's in the West Virginia area, talking about micro wrestling making their return to Ranson in that area. Also, I want to bring on up here too. Herb Simmons, longtime wrestling promoter here in the St. Louis area, well known throughout the country, giving his hat off to you guys back in the day. Wrestlers like Little Brook, Little Tokyo, Cowboy Lane, Kato, and Beautiful Bobby. They're great workers, and now these guys are keeping it going. And again, I'm not going to fib to anybody. I not only enjoyed Big Little Brawlers, but I also enjoyed micro wrestling. I still do. Because the idea where you guys go out there and deliver each and every night. And speaking of someone who delivers each and every night, I'm going to throw things over to my broadcast colleague, the one and only, the Night Owl. Now, Night Owl, I know you've been hiding around. You were taking notes about my introduction. I'm going to go ahead and throw things over to you. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and bring him on the stage so he doesn't feel intimidated.
He's in here.
And I'm going to go ahead and pass things over to him.
Man, I appreciate it, brother. Hey, thank you so much for being here, Lil Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Quite frankly, man, for me, being, we're getting close to episode 500. So when you said we've been doing this for 20 years, we've been doing this podcast for quite a few years ourselves. And I'm always amazed at how many different incarnations pro wrestling comes in. Clearly, when I was first introduced to wrestling here in the Kansas City area on the independent level, it was, traditional, local Kansas City based wrestling. But at those shows, I started to learn that there's so many variations of it. And what you guys do, even though there are some imitators out there, I think you know who they are very well. You guys are the most recognizable name for a reason because you guys do it the best. So I'm always curious because I got to know Ivar when he was in the St. Louis area working for WLW as well and know a little bit about his journey. I'm curious about yours. Like, I think he seemed to have found, like, you ever see Happy Gilmore?
Yeah.
Remember that Happy Place, right? Like, he went down there, got married, moved to Tennessee and everything, man. So just for those that are not as familiar with you, and if you guys aren't, you should be watching Little Big Brawlers on Discovery every single Tuesday. Make sure you guys are staying up on that. But, man, talk to us a little bit about that journey and, like, have you found your safe place and a place where you feel like you're part of a real community that understands you and that relates to you, similar to what Ivar did, because he shared that story with us here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, and he also shared it with me personally. I was lucky enough to get to know him before he went down there with you guys. But I'm curious about your story and if you found that place.
I definitely found that place. Like I said, I've wrestled with all of the micro companies. As soon as I graduated high school, like I said, I was already in the indies. And I went and wrestled with what they call extreme. That time it was extreme midget wrestling. And I was over there for probably about 4 or 5 years. Left that company, went to another company, Micro Championship Wrestling, where I met my sensei. The guy that taught me more than I could ever know was Pat Tanaka. He trained me. I also lived together with him, and we trained every day. I remember he would wake up and I'd be like, "Hey man, let's go." I just want to learn, man. I was so hungry.
Hungry, man, young and hungry.
I mean, at that time I was already in it for maybe 6 or 7 years, but I was only doing it on the weekends, so I wasn't doing it every night. I was just,
wasn't your career yet, so to speak.
Well, I mean, that's all I knew. I did it with the stream, but I knew there's more I could do. And then when somebody's like, "Hey man, that's Pat Tanaka," I remember the first time he's like, "Oh, I'm Pat Tanaka." I was like,
that's gotta be surreal.
I felt so bad. Like I remember Short Steve saying, he's like, "You don't know who that is?" And I don't.
You only know what you know, brother. It's okay.
I didn't know. I
feel like I learned something every time we do the show, so it's all good.
And so I got there, and I remember I had my brother. It was me and him, and I was like, "Hey, let's show him what we can do." And so I went in the back. We went there. We had our first match, and he came in the back. He's like, "Wow, you guys are really good." He's like, "You just need to be tuned up." And when he said that, I was like, okay, let's go. And I trained every day with him. I finally moved in with him, stayed with him for probably about a year and a half. And I just trained and trained and trained. And then eventually I parted ways with MCW and I went back to Extreme. And I wrestled there for another maybe 3 or 4 years. And then after that, I went to where I'm at now. And I've been here going on, was that 7, 6? I don't know. It's been, I think it's, I got here in 2016. I think maybe 18. I don't know. It's been a long time. I've been,
those years fly, yeah, boy.
Yeah. But anyway, I got here and, I seen a lot of guys when I first got here. There was guys, when I first came here, it was Mario, it was Ryan, it was Too Tall. It was I'm trying to think of some other ones that was here. And the wrestling was good. It was good, but it wasn't where it could get better. And I think that I helped that a little bit. I just put what I learned, because I love the business so much. Like sometimes I wish I didn't care about it, care as much as I do, but I do because I just want the business to grow. If I can help you, I'm going to help you. And then I just found that, and then all that, when I was on the stream, you said where I found my happy place. I found it with my wife. Met her on the road in Wyoming. We we talked back and forth, and we finally, it finally happened. And whenever, I finally felt like I was a part of something bigger than wrestling, I guess, so that's my happy place is, outside of wrestling, it's my family. It's when I'm home with my wife and my kids and just being a dad and a husband, because feeling like I matter. Because other than that, I just know wrestling. Like I said on the show, hey, outside of wrestling, I don't know.
Not
I don't
sure
know
what to do.
But when it comes inside that square circle, I can figure it out. So, but yeah, that's my happy place.
Well, that's incredible. And you actually answered my second question in that, because what I was going to ask you is, what is that fuel? Because, everybody's got something that motivates them to show up to work every day, to wake up and do what they do every day, right? There's got to be a why. So that was going to be my question. What's your why? And it sounds like your wife and your family are that, just like me, just like Skywalker and his wife and his family.
And also, like going out, as soon as my music hits, boom, I turn it on. And it's like, and I've said it before in other interviews, when I'm in that ring, there's nothing, it's just me and my opponent. And for that 30 minutes or whatever I'm in there, I feel like that I'm somebody. I'm not just a regular guy on the street. I'm somebody, so that helps out too. But it's mainly like now, used to this was like, but now it's like I got a family. I'm gonna give my kids a better life. I'm gonna give my wife what she deserves. Stuff like that.
Hell yeah, man. And nothing like doing it for those that matter the most. I guess I would dare to go one step further and ask you, man, if you weren't wrestling, they ask like athletes, like, hey, if you weren't a football player, so what about you? If you weren't a world champion and now on Discovery, man, and national, international television, obviously these interviews are probably coming your way left and right, which has got to be kind of cool. What would you be doing if you could maybe put yourself in another dimension? Is there anything else in the world that you were passionate about as a kid? Maybe was it like video games? You like building stuff? What else was there for you?
When I was a kid, I wanted to be a preacher, man. I know that's really, people ain't expecting that, but it's true. That's what
actually fits right in with this show, by the way. But go ahead.
That's what that's what I wanted to do. I'm a very spiritual person. Obviously I'm not perfect, but I do the best that I can. At the end of the day, I'm the one that's got to live with my sins. So, it just, that's probably what I would do. And, I always want to be in some kind of entertainment though, too, like movies or whatever. But when I was a kid, preaching is what I wanted to be.
Okay, that's beautiful, man. And I don't think there's a better I don't think there's better source of employment than giving your life to the Lord. That's me
No.
personally. And
Yeah,
oddly
me neither.
enough, almost every week here, we do a little segment called Snippets of Truth. We actually have a resident chaplain. He comes in, he drops a snippet of truth, and then we do a little prayer. So like I said, man, that fits right in with the Wrestle Talk podcast. We've actually gotten criticism in the past because they're like, bro, this is wrestling. We're supposed to be talking trash, and you guys are doing like a prayer. I'm like, bro, first of all, it's only 5 minutes. And secondly, you don't gotta like it. It's my show.
Yeah, you know what I mean,
I don't
bro?
care, bro.
Yeah.
I got to speak on what you believe, man. That's what's made you guys successful. I think you guys are like, what are the kids saying now these days? You guys stand on business. I think you guys are are standing on business. All right.
Yeah,
One more question outside the wrestling stuff, because I obviously getting to know you a little bit more. So on the playlist, right? I don't know if you got Apple Music, Spotify, if you just still
Spotify.
all right, got you. Some people still got 8 tracks and CDs. That's fine. I'm not judging. What are you bumping at the gym as you're getting ready to go to a show and when you're trying to chill out? So three.
Man, like here recently, I like Jelly Roll, man. I like Jelly Roll.
Voice, buddy.
I like Jelly Roll. I like Upchurch Redneck. I like Luke Combs. But when I'm like in the gym and I'm rolling, I like a lot of the keep rolling, like a lot of the old WWE theme, just stuff that just keeps you pumping.
Old Limp Bizkit,
like a lot of the new breed stuff like that.
Disturbing. All right, so if I had 2 sets of tickets and you could only choose one, would you go see Chris Stapleton or Jelly Roll?
Jelly Roll.
Bro, did you not see Chris Stapleton's national anthem that he did for the Super Bowl, bro? He had everybody crying in there, bro. It was crazy.
I understand that. I'm just a fan of Jelly Roll. I just think his story that I'm here and just I just think he's really he kind of comes from the
the real dude.
He worked here and he worked his way up. You know what I mean? People thought that you wasn't gonna be something, and now he proved them all wrong. And it just took that one song. It just took one song for him to get boom.
Yeah.
It just takes that one thing to happen, and there you go. And I like his music.
Just like you and me and Skywalker, you can't judge a book by its cover. Skywalker, I'm going to go ahead and bring you in, baby. I got one more question, but I want you to be a part of it. The other question I wanted to hit you with, man, I am of Latino descent, if you can't tell. And when I was growing up, there was a lot of, let's just say micro wrestlers within Mexican wrestling, Mascarita and all those guys. I'm curious, have you ever had a chance so far in your career? And I've only been following for a short time, so forgive me if you hadn't. I don't know that. But have you ever fought like a luchador style micro? And if so, man, what's that like compared to like your traditional brawler type matchup? Because I'm sure you've got to have a little bit of it in your repertoire. I'm curious.
Yeah, it was very different. I think, in my opinion, one of the best micros there is. El Torito.
El Torito, yeah, bro.
Yeah,
amazing. Another one.
He was over here, and man, when he came over here, we just clicked. Probably because I just picked his brains. I'm just if I can learn knowledge from you, if I can learn something from you, I'm gonna learn it. I'm gonna pick your brain. I want to be in that ring training, and man, with him, he's so much of a leader and stuff. He could just make you do whatever he wants you to do in that ring. It's just like water. It just flows. It just flows. I can't explain it, but it just flows. But I'm not gonna lie and say that when I wrestled him, I was never nervous, because I was always nervous. You're wrestling somebody that he's better than you. He's faster. But you're gonna try your best to give him the best match that you possibly can. You know what I mean? Because I watched him on WWE. I seen all of his stuff when he was with AAA.
Lucha Underground. He was pretty good at Lucha Underground too.
Lucha Underground, awesome. Yeah. And he's a great guy too, man. I talked to him. I think I talked to him on his birthday and said, "Happy birthday, my friend." He's a great guy.
That's awesome, man.
That's also Micro Tiger's brother too.
Wow, how about that? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Micro Tigre, let's go.
Micro Tiger's brother. Yeah. Yep.
Wow, that's sick. I know you gotta like that question, Skywalker. You was hating on me earlier, but I came ready, bro. I was like, yo, Lil Show is in the house. I gotta bring the big game today, baby. I told your ass, Skywalker.
Well, Night Owl, we talk about training, and you brought that up here. I want to go ahead real quick here, and I want to show something here for those that don't know, and you were talking about it earlier. Lil Show?
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you ever saw this picture or not, but right here.
Yep, I have. He showed it to me a bunch of times.
Ladies and gentlemen, former AWA Tag Team Champion Pat Tanaka here on the Wrestle Talk podcast this evening. Now, as we're taking care of things here, I want to go ahead and I want to throw something else at you here, Show. And I mean, again, you had the opportunity. We've gotten to see a little more behind the curtain with Big Little Brawlers. And I got to ask you, being a wrestler for as long as you have been and traveling all across the country, what does this mean to you?
That all my 20 years has finally paid off. That all my blood and sweat and tears, the time that I put in, all the sacrifices that I've made, my 5 knee surgeries, me getting up out of bed where I can't hardly walk, is paid off. And it sometimes, it took some guys really quick. It took me 20 years to finally get a big break, to let the people know, to see how I really am. All they see is what they see in the ring. They never got a chance to get to know me outside the ring, get to know my personality. They just know me as the badass in the ring who talks a lot of crap and who goes in there and just, going to whoop some ass. So it just, that's what that means to me. So when I seen it, and it was, it's pretty hard. But it's worth it. Like just all the hard work that it's finally paid off.
Well, as we're talking about things right here too, Show, we got a question here, kind of going at it a second. Will there be a season 2?
Man, John, I hope so. I know the fans are wanting it. A lot of people, every show we go, we want a season 2. We want a season 2. Hey, guess what? I want a season 2 too. So, I mean, when we find out, we're gonna let you guys know. I hope so. I don't know, but I know that the fans want it, and I know that we want it. So,
well, I think there's something the fans can do. I may add this. So we are the Wrestle Talk podcast family after all, and we got decent numbers. So guys, if you've been enjoying these interviews that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks with the members of Little Big Brawlers, just go on X, go on YouTube, go on Facebook, on whatever social media platform at Discovery, tag Micro Wrestling, like make noise. I think we can kind of a blue collar little, pitchfork, you better put them back on or else type of deal.
Stuff like that. If you haven't seen it, you have HBO Max. You can stream it right now on HBO Max. All of them. You also can do it on Discovery Plus too. But yeah, that's what that means to me. Just all the sacrifice that I've sacrificed is finally paid off.
Well, something, Lil Show, I want to throw something else out here at you. We're taking kind of a trip down memory lane. We've talked about a lot of great things here, and we're going to talk about your upcoming matches here in the next couple days. But right now, as we're looking here, I want to show something here. Would you have ever imagined in a 20-plus year career that this would be you?
Man, I don't know, man. I don't know. No, because I think right now I'm probably in the best shape that I've been in. I can actually wrestle now without a shirt on and not be embarrassed, because I used to be very embarrassed at my weight. But I also knew, like, hey, you're getting older, so you need to start taking care of yourself. You need to start hitting the gym more. You need to start, not drinking so much sodas like I used to. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you go back, there's a video where I'm imitating Brock Lesnar and I come out of the curtain and you just see a belly. It's huge. I think it's on it's either on my TikTok or the micro TikTok or something, but I'm coming out there and I'm doing whole Brock Lesnar thing, and I just come out and you see a big old belly, and I'm like, yep, can't do that. I gotta change. I gotta do something different, but being big never slowed me down the ring. It never showed me that I told me that I couldn't do anything. People would look at me, oh man, you're like a Vader. You're like Bam Bam. The way you move in that ring, I was like, wow.
What a compliment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I've had a lot of guys say, oh, you like Vader. Okay, well, you like Bam Bam, like for a big guy, I can move in that ring. So I remember I used to ask Treat, I was like, man, how come I can't do the stuff you do? Like, what you teach me? He's like, the way you wrestle is good for you, and then the way I wrestle is good for me. And I want to learn his way. He's like, no, the way you wrestle is good. I was like, okay. So
and he was right. Look at you. He was right. He was definitely right, Skywalker.
And you know something, Night Owl? If we look at this too, just to let you know, if you want to see more of this, and also if you want to make it a point, he's repping the Lil Show, the Redneck Brawler t-shirt, and I'm going to use a shameless plug here again, being in wrestling as long as I have, you can buy this shirt right here at microwrestling.com. If you want to represent the micro wrestling champion, Little Show, the Redneck Brawler, go to microwrestling.com and buy your Little Show t-shirt. Now that we've got the advertising out of the way for here a minute, I want to take
appreciate that, Luke. Thank y'all.
we'll give you an idea. I do want to throw one thing out here, and a lot of people with watching Big Little Brawlers have seen it, and I want your honest opinion. I've talked with Ivar on a couple of occasions outside of the Wrestle Talk podcast, outside of micro wrestling, just sitting down and talking to family members who've been in professional wrestling. Right. And a lot of professional wrestling fans don't know of Micro 1 and Micro 2 before the show. My question to you is this. How does having two different shows change the perception of professional wrestling for micro wrestling?
Well, I'm trying to understand your question.
If you have two different brands, what difference does that make to the casual wrestling fan? Because fans nowadays, you get WWE, and then you have AEW. But here you have two completely different products within the same company.
Yeah. So you know how you have WWE, you have Raw, you have SmackDown, we have NXT. So I think that's kind of how we did it. Not taking nothing away from Micro 2. Like the guy that they have a great show over there. They do. I just know that over here, it's more hard hitting. It's more like it's pretty rough over here. Like you're with the big boys over here. You're with a guy like me, Hot Rod, Jamaican Joe, Zach Presley, Disco Dom, Baby Jesus was over here at one time. He's gone. Micro Tiger's over here. And I'm not taking nothing away from Micro 2 because it's a great show. It's amazing. It's entertaining. The fans love it. They have great matches. I think just over here, it's just more like...
Yeah, they got the guys that lay it in, Skywalker. They lay that stuff in. The stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the only difference. But I think there's more fan favorites over at Micro 2. You have Ivar, you have Psycho, you have Pinky, you have Chief Littlefoot. Who else is over there? You have the Divas, all of them are all over there. So you just have a bigger, I think, just fan favorites probably. Fan favorites over here, and then you have the hard hitting on this side. So I think that's the difference.
And I thank you for sharing that because, like I said, a lot of people, until they saw Big Little Brawlers, they didn't really have a true understanding. And again, with Ivar, it just really amazes me of how many dates you guys are able to take part in. And again, we would be remiss. I mean, we talked about Big Little Brawlers. We talked about the Lil Show. We got the Lil Show here as a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast this evening. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about the upcoming dates that you've got. And I know this week you're getting prepared for a series of matches. I believe you're in Texas and Oklahoma over the next 2 days.
6 shows this week.
Nice.
And again, how does it? I mean, again, when you're on the road so much, what do you do? And I mean, again, right now you're in travel to prepare. What do you do and a lot of wrestlers talk about this. What do you do when you're on the road and after you've had that time to be in the ring? What is an evening for Lil Show when you're on the road? What kinds of things do you, as a performer, do to pass the time?
Okay. So I'm going to go back to your last question. I'm going to come back to this question. You're talking about the difference, and I said that the entertainment, people are the fan favorites and hard hitting. Also, you have the road warriors, which is Micro One, and you have all the people that live in Pigeon Forge. So that's another different. Like just about everybody in Micro Two, they stay in Pigeon Forge, because they're all at the building, and so that's another difference. Going to what you're saying. My day, this is how usually my days it does. It depends on what time we're leaving. Most time we leave between, if we have to leave, if it's a far drive, 10 o'clock or 11. And then I get in the truck and I'm driving or I'm riding because we don't drive, but we ride. We get to the hotel. We have time to get in there, put our stuff up, maybe relax a little bit. If I have time, I will try to find a gym, hit the gym if I can. Be there at the venue about 30 minutes before the doors open, get everything right, because we have guys that already go there and set the ring up and everything. So that's awesome now. But we go there about 30 minutes before, make sure everything's right, just like it's supposed to be. Open the doors, get everybody in there, do the show. After the show, I head to the hotel. I might have a bite to eat, maybe, if I'm, usually eat. Do the money, do all the business stuff that I got to do. Call the wife, tell her I'm home, tell her I'm done, blah, blah, blah. And probably just lay down, watch TV, and just relax and get ready to do the same thing the next day.
Ooh, can I ask a specific question?
Yes, sir.
I'm sure there's different regions and different food in every region of the country, but do you have like a meal that if you're like in one town, you're like, bro, if I go back to such and such, if I go to Kansas City, I'm going to, do you have places like that on the road? Can you maybe share a few of your secrets with us?
I don't really have a place like that. I mean, I do love street tacos. So if every time I have a street taco, I get that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a KFC guy at heart. Like I DoorDash KFC.
I love the wedges, man. That was my favorite growing up. The freaking wedges. I love
KFC.
I actually have a half KFC, half Taco Bell right up the road, which is crazy.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome. Taco.
But usually at night, because everything's closed by the time we get out, we just all go to a store and get like if you want to eat healthy, you get some tuna, some fruit, or whatever. Sometimes you don't want to eat healthy, so you'll get some chips and some stuff that you don't want to eat.
Yeah, you're supposed to be.
You know what I mean? Probably get a thing of water about that big. And what else would I get? Probably some tuna. I eat a lot of tuna at night.
So when you're misbehaving, what's your go-to? Like what drinks and snacks?
It's just,
when you're misbehaving, that one day a week, right? That whatever.
Are we talking about like going off like eating junk and
like favorite snacks? Yeah, stuff like that.
So sometimes I'll get a Mountain Dew or a red Mountain Dew, and I'm like, I shouldn't have it, but it tastes pretty good. I'm gonna do it. I get that. So I'm getting some water and chips. Reese's.
Oh, Reese's peanut butter cups, Skywalker. That's why when I saw Skywalker,
I'm gonna give y'all an insider. Baby Jesus he drinks Dr. Pepper. He'll get a Reese's and he'll get a bag of chips and he still have abs. I don't know how he does it.
That's not fair.
The only thing he does. you see what I'm saying? I always got to do with something.
Hey, we got people hating on tuna, man. Here we go.
Come on, man. I know. Hey, man. Hey, when it's late at night and you don't want to, because if you eat junk late at night and you go to sleep, you'll wake up and you'll have that ugly taste in your mouth. It's just nasty.
Yeah, especially as you get older, it's not real good on the stomach either. I'll just.
Yeah. Hey, man, I already know that.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, well, Night Out. in defense, we have Tyler Cooley, the man you just first saw it having some talking trash about eating tuna. He turns around and then does something like this, of course, and makes it a point to remind people to buy your micro wrestling merchandise at microwrestling.com/shop.
We're not above pandering to have you back, bro. We'll do it. We don't care.
Tyler, you are awesome. Thank you.
We left our shame at the door.
Well,
By the way,
now,
I did want to say something before I forget, because we were talking about Reese's peanut butter cups. John Haas mentions, he says, I saw Reese's cup is coming out today that has caramel in it. Yum.
Whoa.
And Skywalker, your shirt kind of looked like a Reese's peanut butter cup.
Hey, don't talk trash about my shirt, and I'll let you know it's not just coming out. I'll give you an idea. A friend of mine that I've got a lot of business ventures, and I'll tell you right now, there's a very good friend of mine I know for a number of years. About 5 or 6 months ago, we were talking about it, and one day she went out to the grocery store and brought my wife and I both a single serving big cup of the Reese's peanut butter cup with caramel in it. Oh, it is phenomenal.
Okay, we got to change the subject. Enough. Little Big Show's trying to use the champion, bro.
I was giving y'all an inside scoop on what baby Jesus likes to eat,
Sneaking around with peanut butter cups. Go ahead, Luke.
Well, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, we got Lil Show here, the micro wrestling champion, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you have an opportunity this week, Micro One is going to be touring Texas and Oklahoma, and I'm going to level with the viewers here. We got a lot of viewers in the St. Louis area, and I want to go ahead and let you know, from May 5th to May 12th, Micro 2 is going to be in the greater St. Louis area. We're going to be talking like Centralia, Pawnee. They're going to be in Belleville, Illinois. They're going to be in St. Louis. They're going to be in St. Peters. And I'm going to tell you right now, micro wrestling is happening all over the place. You name it, you need to make it a point to check them out. And I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to have an opportunity with Micro 2. I've talked with Ivar, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's my goal to be a part of the Micro 2 tour when they come here to the greater St. Louis area. It's going to be a great night of professional wrestling action. And again, if you get an opportunity this week, if you're in Texas or Oklahoma, you need to make it a point. And I'm going to go ahead and run through these real quick just to give people an idea. If you're viewing us here in the Texas area, you're going to be Micro 1 is going to be at Circle M Crawfish Stand tomorrow night. They're going to be at the Electric Cowboy in Louisville, Texas on Wednesday, CW Scooters in Lawton, Oklahoma on Thursday, and CW Scooters in Enid, Oklahoma on Friday. I'm going to tell you right now, get at a point. Get your tickets. Get them early. Tell everybody you can. Micro brawlers, micro wrestling, big little brawlers is taking the world by storm. And I'm going to tell you right now, Lil Show, it is an honor and a privilege to officially say that you are a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. And I'm going to tell you right now, this has been a great interview with you. I want to ask one last question before we let the fans have an opportunity to know how to follow you, how to follow micro wrestling. My question is, we ask this to a lot of our guests. My hope is that you have, being a longtime professional wrestling personality like you, I want to see your career go for many more years. I want to be talking about the legacy of Lil Show when it comes to professional wrestling and multiple championship reigns and all the successes that a professional wrestler should encounter. When people look at the career of Lil Show, when you finally decide that it's time to unlace the boots, leave them in the ring, and call it a career, which is not going to be for many, many years because you're going to dominate micro wrestling like you have. My question is this: what would you want people to remember most about Lil Show?
Man, I have two questions. Like, as the fans, I want the fans to remember, wow, he was amazing. Like, he went in there, he gave 110%. Boom, right? But with the guys in the back, just like, hey, he wanted to help everybody. He just wanted to make the show better. Because in the back with the boys, it's a lot of respect, and I think I respect all of them. I think they respect me, and if I could help just one up or whatever to get where they need to be. That's what I want for the boys in the back. But as for fans, like, hey, like how people look at Stone Cold, The Rock, I might not ever get on that level, but how they said, like a legend, like I look at Little Kato, man, he's amazing. I tell him every time, I'm like, dude, you're a legend, you're amazing. I already know that without Little Kato and his dad, we wouldn't be doing what we're doing now because they paved the way for us. So I know I'm going to pave the way for the next generation.
Something, Lil Show, when you look at that, I mean, again, you couldn't say it any better. That's one of the things in professional wrestling. It's like a lot of professions. You want to leave it better than you found it. And I'm going to tell you right now, with wrestlers like yourself, among others in micro wrestling, I know without a shadow of a doubt, without any hesitation, that you are leaving your mark in the world of professional wrestling and to the next generation. And there's a lot of wrestlers that we've had an opportunity to see. A lot of people talk about wrestlers like, and I'm just going to say it, like Andrew the Giant, and talk about a lot of the divas that are coming up through the professional wrestling ranks. But when it comes down to it, micro wrestling is bringing the next level. When you talk about Cody Hawk, the trainer at micro wrestling, and you go the rest of the way through, micro wrestling is making its mark, and without hesitation, Lil Show is definitely leading the way. Before we let you go,
he's the champ, baby.
He is. He's going to be a champ for a long time. Now, before we let you go, I want to go ahead and give you an opportunity here. And again, people can go to microwrestling.com, or as our good friend Tyler said, microwrestling.com/shop. You can also pick up the Micro Wrestling app, which is available on Android and Apple devices. For those that want to know more about Lil Show, want to know more about Big Little Brawlers, more about micro wrestling, and be able to catch you in action, how can people follow Lil Show?
They go to my Facebook, which is, I use my real name. I don't really use Lil Show. I use Jacob Brooks, but on my Instagram, I use Redneck Brawler, and I've been using that, and that's how usually people have been getting to me is through my Instagram, Redneck Brawler, or TikTok, Redneck Brawler. So,
all right. Well, like I said, Night Owl, I'm going to go ahead and throw things to you because you have a little bit of business to take care of. He's the one. He's the original. He's one of those that gives the official proclamation. I think it's time for you to officially and formally welcome the Little Show. So, Night Owl, take it away.
Well, it's nothing too special unless you know what it means when we, as a Wrestle Talk podcast family, continue to approach episode 500. Show, I get this feeling just talking to you just for a few minutes that you really do pour your heart into this stuff, and that you will forever be a wrestler in your heart and in your mind. You were that when you were that little kid, and I'm sure you will be when you can't do it physically anymore. So just know that we share that in common with you. And it's my pleasure and an honor for all of us to welcome you in as the newest member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. So congratulations for that. Know that anytime, anywhere, no matter where you go, you can come on here. If you got something you got to get over, if you got a foundation or something. Skywalker, I was teasing you about your shirt, but we both know that that's for the Walk MS Foundation too. Anything involved the community that you're doing and you want to come on and kind of share that with us, or any cause or even a show or upcoming event that you want to promote, man, the Wrestle Talk podcast is your platform as a member of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. So if you ever want to come back on, we're going to reach out to you for sure in a couple of months, but if you need to come back on sooner than that, you hit him up, you hit me up, you've got your home right here, amigo.
Nice, man. Appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Salute to you, man. You deserve it. You deserve it, champ.
Thank you. You saying that, you figured out about wrestling's helped me, wrestling gave me, it's how I met my wife. It's how
you found your happy place.
How I found my happy place, Yeah. That's how, if I wasn't wrestling, I don't know if I would have ever met her, but I don't know. But it's just I believe everything happens for a reason. And, it was just out of the blue when I first started, Jerry Lawler needed some little guys. My cousin knew me and my brother. Went in there, did like a worm and a backflip, and Jerry Lawler was like, okay, boom. And we was like 12 and 13 years old. What he was, this was in Tennessee, Memphis Power Pro Wrestling. That happened for a month. Got done with that. 4 months later, my grandpa took me to a wrestling event. Got there. They say, hey, what, you guys on TV? I said, yes, sir. They threw us in the ring. We never been trained. So it was just like a brawl out fight. It was a fight. And then next week we come back. And then the commissioner's down. He's like, you guys will never wrestle in the state of Mississippi again. Ever. But you know what? There are some guys there. Justin Rhodes, Sammy Hall, not Sammy Hall, but Sammy, AC Styles, a couple of other guys. They seen something in me and my brother, and they was like, we want to train you guys so you guys can get your license. And I trained for almost 2 years. First day of training, you know what happened? I dislocated my shoulder.
Ooh.
Thought it was over with. Nope, came back, kept doing it. And then my dad's like, my grandpa was taking me fine. My dad took over. He was like, you guys want to do this? I was like, yes, sir. He's like, well, you're going to be the best. And he pushed us. And that's just how, that's how my childhood went.
I love that, man. Why do I feel like we're just scratching the surface, man? Somebody said this feels like an episode 500 type feel. You know what I mean? That's crazy, bro. That's the energy you're giving off, man. So once again, thank you, brother. We love that you decided to give us a little bit of your time. Say hello to the wife for us. Thank her very much as well for sharing you with us, man. And just know this. Hopefully, this isn't the last time we have an opportunity.
I hope not, man.
To talk to each other, man, because it sounds like we've got so much more to cover.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only Lil Show here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I got to give you, when it comes down to it, this has been a great show. Not even going to sugarcoat it. It has been a phenomenal show. Now, I'm going to go as far. I'm even going to take a page out of your book. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 super kicks. 6.
Let's go.
6.
Yeah, that's right. That's one above the max, baby. No, that was wonderful, man. And, for me, it's just about getting somebody on who's sincere in what they do. Regardless as whether you're on top of the mountain, like, Little Big Brawlers is, and like Micro Wrestling is right now, and like Little Show is as a champion, you can tell that he's going to be humble and he's going to be appreciative no matter where he is, especially because of the journey he's had with over 20 years in the game. And finally, my man is starting to get his flowers, much deserved flowers. Him and the rest of the crew over there, man. There's some guys that have been putting in a lot of years, and it's just about time, I think, that the world recognize these talents for what they really are, bro. Truly, truly amazing.
And you know something, Night Owl? Trying to look at this earlier on. You talk about them getting their flowers. You talk about them getting their respect in the world of professional wrestling. And, of course, now, when I need things to work,
this is what you get for always beckoning and summoning the technology. When you need it, it doesn't work. That's what you get. Oh, no, Skywalker, you got to stop. Like, if you say Beetlejuice too many times, he's going to appear. That's how the technology works. When you keep bringing it up, it's eventually going to be.
Well, you know something, though, Night Owl, as we talk about it, too, and we've had a lot of great comments tonight. I do want to give you a reminder, too, if you want to go ahead and help out the micro wrestlers, micro wrestling, and big little brawlers, make it a point, as we see here, microwrestling.com/shop. And also, we talk about the tour here in early May in the greater St. Louis area. We're talking about the opportunity this week. You can catch Micro 1 in Texas and in Oklahoma. Also, as a reminder, I want to go ahead and throw this up here real quick. And we had an opportunity during the interview to bring this up here. I want to share this with you. If you get a chance and you're in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, make it a point to check out. And again, it's going to be here, the Microtorium in Pigeon Forge. Make it a point to check them out. I know for a fact a lot of Micro 2 action takes place inside the Microtorium. Make it a point to check them out. Also check out microwrestling.com to get all those great tour dates for Micro 1 and Micro 2. I mean, again, what else can you say other than micro wrestling? As we said before, it's taking over the world in professional wrestling. And I'm not even going to follow that one right there, Sonny Money.
I got it out there. I got one. A big Jim Harris telling us about the St. Louis Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. Looks like we got a date, and it's at the High Point Theater. That's March 18th at 7 p.m. Obviously, the St. Louis Championship Pro Wrestling page. Make sure you guys get the link for those free passes. Anybody that's in the area, the St. Louis area, of course, make sure you do not miss out on this event. And Jimmy, thank you for being here every week, bro. We love and appreciate you. I did have one last thing, Skywalker, and we do got to go because we're so over time. But again, anybody who has enjoyed today's show but finds themselves struggling or having difficulty and challenges and don't have anybody to speak to, in honor of previous hosts, my guy Jeremy Karp, just be mindful if you have the need to speak to somebody. There is always the option of dialing 988 for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. I know a lot of people are going through a lot of things. We laugh and we carry on all night about wrestling, but it's hard out there for a lot of people. So if you need somebody, call somebody. Are we good, Skywalker?
I think we're good. Also, one last reminder, too, for the great folks over at MLW. Just to remind you, on Friday night, March 29th, the Coliseum in St. Petersburg, Florida, MLW War Chamber. You can get your tickets, MLGo.com. You can also catch it on Eventbrite. You can also get on Triller TV as well. And also, we're hoping in the next couple days to make a big announcement regarding War Chamber. And I'm going to tell you, if you get an opportunity, make it a point to check out all your great professional wrestling, regardless of the promotion. There's great professional wrestling promotions all across this country. Make it a point to check them out. Support your local professional wrestling, because without the fans, professional wrestling, much like the Wrestle Talk podcast, does not exist. We want to thank everybody for coming on the program. We want to thank all of our great sponsors for helping us each and every week, making the Wrestle Talk podcast what it is today. Again, we're on our road to episode 500. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We're on the road to Universe Mania 10. Ladies and gentlemen, for the Night Owl, this is Luke Roberts. We look forward to having you back here at our regularly scheduled time next Tuesday night at 7 p.m. right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Take care and have a great evening.